Well, hello everybody. It's good to see you. Here we are on December 20th, our last live stream of 2025, our general discussion live stream that we do on the third Saturday of every month. And I wish I'm not getting an indication of how many people we have in here yet, but hello to Ted. I see Ted's there. And Scubarazzi, of course. And I did get your picture, Scubarazzi. And J Rod's in here. And I'm sure, let's see, who else we got in here? Oh, surprisingly, my friend Bob isn't in here yet, I don't think.
Just 10 watching right now.
Yeah. Okay. But we'll wait another minute or so before we get started into the meat and potatoes. But we're going to have a very nice presentation from the Astro Photography Team. The tag team is here, and it's David's turn to be the speaker for this Aurora Borealis content that he's going to be doing around 9:30 is the goal. So between now and then, we'll all say hi to you guys, and then I'm going to talk a little bit about dual conversion gain camera sensors and dual gain output sensors. And I'm going to talk about it before we do rumors, which we'll do after David's presentation, only to kind of set the stage, because the rumors have some comments from various manufacturers about dual gain output sensors. So I want to just talk about what each of them is, how they work, kind of plant the seed in your mind, and then we will move on with David's presentation. And I got like a little 5-minute spiel I have to talk about, or I'm choosing to talk about. Hopefully it has a little comic relief for everybody for the holiday as well. So why don't we move along? We'll go here left to right, top to bottom. We'll start with Roy. Are you doing anything special, Roy, for the holidays, or what are you up to?
No, I'm avoiding them as much as I can. Right now I'm playing with that monster adapter thing.
Yeah, well, Roy has had some interesting, not good results with the monster adapter, and later in the show we'll have him show you what it does to his camera. Eventually, it kind of sort of works, but not right away. So we'll let him talk about that. What else is going on? Anything? What's your? You've been getting bird pictures or anything out in the backyard?
No, I fed 4 cockatoos this morning, so one of them mugged the other 3 to get all the crackers.
You could probably get a bird fight club going on with fighting for the food.
I didn't fight; I just mugged them, just pushed them over and grabbed their cracker.
David, what about you?
Well, I've been getting this presentation ready because we've been meeting weekly, and that weekly is spelled WEEKLY, not the other way. And we've been doing good at that. Is during the presentation, I can see the chat. So if you have a question, put QQQ in front of your question, and I will get to it. And in the meantime, I have 3 other people that know a bit about what I'm talking about, and they can answer. And that's pretty well all I've been doing, because it's been cloudy and snowy. It's been clear during the day when the moon and whatever, the stars aren't out, and as soon as it gets dark, clouds over. And so I haven't seen a thing that night. Anyway, over to you, Gustavo.
Hi guys, sorry I had to mute myself. I'm actually traveling, and I'm broadcasting here from the hotel in Moab. So family and I decided just before the Christmas to take some time off, since the weather in the mountain was good enough to pass through without too much trouble. And so I'm in Moab, and trying to do some night photography and some landscape photography. So that's delicate arch there in this hotel decorations. But so the weather has been exceptionally good for this time of the year. Yeah, so and it's off season, so hardly any tourists. So it's beautiful. No queuing anywhere. Yeah, so definitely coming out of season seems to be the thing to do rather than when it came last May. So hopefully I'll get something good, and you will see it for the next review.
What's the temperature like now?
Oh, it was 45 Fahrenheit in the morning and 61, 62 during the day,
Perfect.
which for me is perfect.
Yeah. Terry, what have you been up to?
Well, I'm copying David that with the weather and Roy. I copy Roy because I hate festivities too. And I have to thank Nikon give me something to do these days with a new firmware update, resetting my cameras, and yeah, that's all.
All right, Bob. Good to see you. Haven't seen you in a while.
Yeah, good to see you as well.
You're one step closer to retirement, aren't you? You're kind of getting there.
Every day.
Every day.
I'm practicing right now. I've been off work for the last couple of weeks. I had like 3 weeks of vacation left to take. So, but other than that, not doing anything. Haven't really been going out, taking any pictures. Just still easing back into that. And other than that, just weekly trying to help David on his stuff.
Yeah, and we all know David needs a lot of help, but I'm glad he has more than one shrink to talk to.
Yeah, they're good jam sessions.
Yeah.
We don't get much done on the Aurora stuff, but we talk about it.
Chuck, my man, how you doing, Chuck? Doing good?
Yeah. Same old,
Same old.
Yeah.
You're looking good in there. You got the AP Studios light on. You got the on-air thing turned on. You're already rock and roll.
Yeah.
So we'll say I think we covered a lot of the people here. Long Riders here. Good to see you. It's been a while. Jim Eads, real Nikon lover. Let's see, Bob's here. Hello, Bob. And Robert Varner. And like you said before, J-Rod's here. Scuba Rozzi's here. Ted is here. Art Bear. Nice. Ted and I always have nice long conversations when he calls me. I think we could talk for like way. My wife says, "Who were you talking to this time?" You know, that's what I get. But anyway, first off, I'm going to wish everybody Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And I hope everybody enjoys this holiday season, you know, time with friends and family, and hope everybody has a real good break and a good time if they can. And we went through saying our hellos to everybody and seeing those that are in the chat. And Mr. Stewart's doing the presentation around 9:30-ish. And if you have a question, I'm getting hot with this little hat on, so I'm taking it off. Sorry, you got to look at my bald head now. But if you have a question, put in QQQ before your statement so we know to put it on the screen, and David will answer. David and the team from the Astro Club here will attempt to answer any questions that you have as we go. And worst case, we'll table it and cover it at the end. I'd like to thank, first off, I'd like to thank everybody in the chat and on the panel who supported Tim and myself when we went on Matt's recent live stream. It was fun for us, but you know, we were a little bit antsy. We'll admit it. But I want to explain a few things to you that you would not be aware of. There were the chat was like flowing so fast, and there were times where people asked me direct questions. And I just want you to know, I with the software that Matt is using, and it's new to him and he's getting used to setting it up and everything. I could see that all I could see was a small image of maybe a 4x6 image of Matt, a thumbnail image of me, and I couldn't see Tim at all. And I had the chat on the right-hand side, which was flowing like water, like a waterfall. Everybody was very active on there, and sometimes people asked me a direct question, but I didn't have the capability from his particular software at this point in time to be able to respond to anybody. It didn't allow me to type in there and say hi to anybody or try to answer a question or whatnot. And of course, Matt got a little overwhelmed with not expecting so many people in the chat, and we had a lot of material to cover. So I'm sure I just wanted to make sure, explain that to you. So those that may have felt slighted that we were ignoring you and I wasn't answering you, I didn't have the capability to answer you. If I ever got the opportunity to be on somebody else's stream again, I would have to, I got on 5 minutes before the show started. So things were kind of panicking and I didn't have time to put YouTube on, and I didn't want to worry about any kind of feedback or problems with that. But I think next time I put YouTube on and go in the chat there and try to answer some things as we go. Now
we need to help Matt because I think we have become very good at these live streams.
Yeah, I mean, and Matt was a phenomenal host, and I'll tell you why. I'm not just saying that to make his chest puff out or anything, but he was great because he gave Tim and I a proposed topic for the stream, and he allowed us to put together some discussion points, which Tim and I did, and sent it to him, and he used all those discussion points that we suggested plus some. And it made us vested in the stream a little bit more, I think, and it also gave us an opportunity to try to prepare a little bit so we didn't look too stupid on this show. And I think it went pretty good, and I think everybody was pretty happy with it.
It was a good stream. I enjoyed it. I think you came across very well prepared.
Yes, I saw that the next day. I didn't. A couple of hours later, actually, because I didn't catch it on live, but it was good. But I couldn't see any problem.
Okay, that's nice. Now I'm going to talk about something that happened that people probably don't know, and it's something that well, let me just go there instead of stammering here. So depending on how much people were paying attention to the chat early on, there was someone in the chat that referred to me as a clown, and this commentary was eventually deleted and gone by the next morning. But when I first saw it, of course, you get a little bit prickly. But then I started laughing my behind off because I realized he actually revealed my secret identity.
Yes.
I've always been a clown. I've had a unique sense of humor since I was a young kid. I was somewhat of a class clown in school. I made jokes, wherever I worked and any job I was in to try to get people to relax and not be so stressed and break the ice and stuff like that. And that's just my personality style. So
I can say that the internet bring up the darkest of us.
Yeah. So to that person, who made the comment, all I can say is you figured me out. I'm a clown and I'm proud of it. Now, just to show you,
make you laugh. Stupid.
Just to show you that clowns are pretty common, I thought I would show you a behind the scenes image of the panel and myself before the start of a typical stream, before we have our makeup done, because we all get makeup done before we come on the show, or we have it removed, depending on how you want to look at it. So I'm going to share an image with you here that I got from the archives. That I will put up for your viewing pleasure. And now, please note, the only person that's not a clown here is Chuck, because Chuck is special. He's not a clown. The rest of us, we're all clowns, but we clean ourselves up well before we go on the stream, and nobody knows. But, now some of you know. But, as I laugh a little at this image, I hear the voice of a famous singer in my head finishing an old song. And let me see. I don't know if you guys will recognize this person or not, but let me put the song on here. And I think it's an appropriate ending to showing this picture. Isn't it rich? Isn't it queer? Lucy my timing this late in my career? And where are the clowns? There ought to be clowns. Well, maybe next year. So I don't know. I don't know if you know who that guy was, but I mean, he sounded okay to me. But you know, when we get back and you know, after we clean ourselves up and we come on the show, we look like this. So to the gentleman that called me a clown, if you're in the chat or you watch this later on, I wish you a sincere Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, because all you did was tell everybody what I already knew. So have a good one. I want to thank a special thank you to my friend Bob Reppert at Bob Arsenault's for tweaking the screenshot, doing a little AI on it. Yeah, crusty. And I want to disclose it to Restream and YouTube and Facebook that this is the only altered content on the show. Everything else you see is real and not make believe. But some of us, I admit to being a clown. I don't know about these guys if they're going to admit it or not, but you know, I will admit it. So, but anyway, I hope you enjoyed that little bit. We are going to talk about the Z9 firmware later on, for those of you that have Z9s, and that'll be after David talks. But before we get there, let's see, we got 9:17. I think I could do this. There are cameras out there that use dual conversion gain. They're dual conversion gain cameras, and it's in the sensor that's doing this. And so what you have in that case, which by the way, the Z8 and the Z9 are dual conversion gain sensors in their cameras. The low conversion gain is active at low ISOs when you have bright conditions outside. It offers a larger pixel capacity and dynamic range because whereas the high conversion gain kicks in when you're at higher ISOs. So on the Z9, it's like, okay, from 64 to 400, you're at the low conversion gain, and when you hit 500 and above, you're at the high conversion gain. So what is low conversion gain? Okay, the sensor at that point uses a larger capacity. It's like having a deeper bucket to store the electrical signal, the photons. Okay, you get more signal strength there. Okay, it's like the sensor actually adapts and stores more information, and without oversaturating. So you end up with excellent dynamic range, and it's great when you have, you know, good amount of light, and you want to preserve your highlights and your shadows. Now, where the high ISO, when you're in low light mode and you're using high ISOs, you're using the high conversion gain, the sensor goes into a higher sensitivity mode. The well for storing the information isn't quite as deep here. It's trying to basically not give you high noise at higher ISOs. So it's really about the noise and being able to pick up low level signals that you would get from the shadows, because obviously you don't have as big of a signal with shadows than you do with, you know, a well lit area of your scene. So it prevents this noise from overwhelming, your camera. And your camera does this automatically. It isn't anything you go in and say, okay, turn on the low gain, turn on the high gain. Camera just does it on its own. Now, where you get into dual gain output, which is in the A7 V, which is getting a lot of attention, and it's off, but it's also in the Panasonic camera, their newer one. Was it the S12 or something that also has that type of a sensor in it? Now with that, it takes two readouts. It gathers the information with the low gain, it gathers the information at a high gain, and it blends them together. And so that way you get really good dynamic range. You don't have clipping of your highlights theoretically, and you have low noise. But there are restrictions to it, and it isn't perfect. And I'll get into why that is later on, because believe it or not, Fuji Rumors talked about these types of sensors because I think they're trying to figure out what way they want to go. And the author of the article, or the person that runs Fuji Rumors, says he doesn't really care which way they go. That was his opinion. But he does call out or spike out some things that people should know, where there's regarding the A7 V, where there's certain settings where it doesn't do you any good. So we're going to share that with you later on. And then Canon also talked about the Sony A7 V regarding the dual gain output. But when I went to Sony Rumors, they didn't really talk about it at all. So I got more information from Fuji Rumors and Canon Rumors than I got from Sony Rumors, which was interesting. But we'll get into that later. What the competition thinks of it, and where they feel it fell short. And Canon does use, they call it something else, but basically is a dual gain output, but they use it in their video cameras. So they've used it in their video cameras, but they haven't implemented it in their hybrid cameras on a sensor yet. But they do have that technology in some of their video cameras that they make. So I'll leave that there, and let me just see what people are saying in the chat here. And you got anything we have to answer, guys?
No, we are okay. We got some additional people that signed in. Rakesh came in, and Alan Barnes from Kent in the UK.
Oh, great.
Yeah, so.
And Jeff and Leslie, howdy.
And Jeff and Leslie.
Yeah. And well, what we're going to do, gang, is we're going to let Mr. Stewart. Well, you want to start exactly 9:30, right? Because you got people coming in from your club at 9:30, David.
It doesn't matter. We can start early. Yeah. Then because it was 9:30 for you, would be 6:30 for them. So, but that's okay. Yeah.
All right. If you want to start, we'll let you go, and the rest of us will keep an eye on the chat, and Gustavo and I will throw it on the screen when people ask a question. And so explain to everybody first what subject matter you're discussing, and the team, who the team is. So for people who don't know.
I will get my slide and we'll go forward here. Okay, the team on this, we have Terry, Robert.
The message is out.
Yep, and it's we've been meeting on Wednesdays for an hour, which has a tendency to stretch to 2.5 or 3, and but we're progressing. It's on our original outline, we had up to 8 different presentations to do. This is presentation number 3, and number 4 is probably going to be in March with Robert, and he's going to be doing light painting, and I have a couple of shots that I'll be showing with light painting here. It's this picture that I have, we picked that to go along with our Astro Photography theme, but we don't quite look that far away to see the Aurora. And if you have any questions, please put them in the chat. I can see the chat, and my panel of experts will do their best to answer, and if they can't, I'll I'll do my best. Okay, the sun physics, I'm not going to get into the weeds here because we can really get into the weeds a lot and go and go and go. And if you want to get into the weeds, I have a reference coming up. Okay, the sun, it's emitting plasma all of the time. And we have larger amounts called coronal mass ejections. We don't get very many of them. And the smaller ones are solar flares. And there's solar flares all the time. But very few of them come towards the Earth. And this can happen at any time, not just during solar maximums. And there's lots of times you better aurora photography after the maximum. But whatever I say, take it with a grain of salt, because the way the sun is, this can happen at any time. I've gotten really good aurora shots at minimums, you know. And see here, your camera is able to see the aurora even when you cannot see it with the naked eye. And lots of times when I go out, I'll take a test shot just to see if there's anything there. Because sometimes if the aurora, you can be out all night and it's only good for half an hour. And it usually what happens is it's really good on the way out to where you set up, and by the time you get there, it's gone. And that has happened to me on more than one occasion. And it's a bit of the luck of the draw. And I would advise everybody to copy this screen here, because you want these addresses. And it's and I check out the aurora or the solar activity using the following websites. And I'm going to take you to these websites later on and show you how they work. The only thing I won't show you is Space Weather Woman, is Dr. Tamitha Skov. She has 5 degrees in physics. And if you want to get into the weeds on what the sun is doing, you want to join her Patreon group, because she'll get on and she'll go for 4 hours on a Saturday. And she's got lots of YouTube content for you to follow. These apps, I find them fairly worthwhile. There's Aurora Pro. It's a one-time payment. We have Aurora Now. It's a subscription. I have all of these. And it's I find Aurora Now is both the best. There's solar activities, there's Space Weather Live, and there's Aurora Watch in the UK. And for people in the UK, that is a really good option. But most of these apps that the information comes from the Americans, and it's usually from the Discover satellite, except now they've got a new satellite up there, and Robert can answer or tell us what that is. I think it's called the ACE. So,
yeah, I'm not sure, David. Sorry.
okay, but it'll show up on one of my slides later on what it's called. And this big thing is the preparation is, and all of these forecasts, you've got to treat them like the weather forecasts were 20 years ago. That's the level of accuracy. And it's that. And then next we have, you got to select your location. Like unless the aurora is spectacular, a foreground object of interest is required, or else you just have something that's green and looks like ugh. So it's just like any type of photography, you've got to have a subject. Sometimes if the aurora is great, your aurora can be your subject. Otherwise, pick something else. The aurora usually starts in the northeast and migrates to the northwest through the night. And I'm using a lot of weasel words here, and that is because I've seen exceptions to everything that I'm going to say tonight. And it's just like all of these rules of photography, the 1/3 rule and all the rest of that stuff. Don't worry about them because there are no rules. As clear sky, it's not required, but a clear horizon is a great benefit because unless you're in the north or the aurora is good, you're only going to see the aurora along the horizon. And it's, but up here, we can get it all the way around. And the closer you are to the equator, the lower in the sky the aurora will appear. And it just because of where the aurora is in the earth. It's usually in the north, and it can be up a couple hundred kilometers, but depending on the KP and the BZ, which I'll explain later on, it'll move it to the south. And the better aurora season is the winter and spring months. And that's because it is darker. I used to say the fall, but the last 4 falls here, it has been cloudy every night. And usually when the aurora comes out, it's been raining or snowing. And I've got a good friend of mine, and she says the aurora attracts clouds. And sometimes I tend to believe her. Yeah, Iceland, though a good location, it's great for during the day because you got lots of stuff to do during the day, but it's not as good as Yellowknife or Churchill. But the bears in Churchill, they hunt people. So you got to watch out for them. And Yellowknife is an easier place to get to, especially from Calgary. I've got a direct flight that goes up there once or twice a day. So I prefer Yellowknife because it's easy to get to. Churchill, you've got to go to Winnipeg to get there, or I think you can get there from Thompson, Manitoba, but it's not easy to get to Thompson either. And I do most of my aurora chasing in central Alberta because it's a good area and it's where I live. It is not really necessary. Well, if you're living in the south, you want to go further north. But as we'll see later on, Gustavo has got some really good shots that he took on November the 11th. And the big thing is scout out your locations in daylight as the night obscures many dangers. And I'm going to think about safety first. It's one of the places that I go is at a bison pasture, and you cannot see the bison in the dark because they are the same color as the dark, and you don't want to perturb them. But usually they stay fairly far from people. And for equipment, I would get the sturdiest tripod that you can afford. And that will want to raise your camera to eye level without you bending over. Because if you're going to be bent over all night, because you could be there for a long time, you're going to get a sore back. And I use a ball head, as sometimes the aurora is overhead. A 3-way head, a lot of them don't go up high enough. But that's just what I found. I recommend fast glass. It's 2.8 or faster, and like I say, preferred. Primes tend to be faster than zooms. And the farther that you are from the equator, like farther north or farther south, wider lenses can give better results. As you head south, you want a longer lens because your aurora is going to be closer to the horizon. And if you want to see anything, you're probably better with a longer lens. depending on where you are, what I suggest you should use. My go-to lens is a 28, and I'll start off with that, and then I'll choose which way to go, longer or shorter, depending on how the Aurora is. And if the Aurora is moving fast, then a longer exposure makes the Aurora look blurry or soupy, and then I'll have little shape. And my goal is a 4-second or less exposure. There's been some nights I was down to 1 second because it was moving that fast and it was that bright. But if you ever want a subject that's going to stretch your camera capabilities, this is the Aurora. And I like to fill the frame from top to bottom. So I use the focal length that does that for at least one camera. The nights that the Aurora is good, I'll have 4 cameras out, and I'll have all different focal lengths on them. Because I've got 10, 12, 15, 20, 24, 28, 35, and 50. And as the lens choice for full frame cameras tends to be better than for crop sensor cameras. And it's like I said here before, my go-to focal length for test shots is 28 millimeters. And right now I'm using a Sigma Art f1.4. It really doesn't matter what brand of cameras that you use, it's that some are better than others. And if the Aurora is good, I'll have multiple cameras going. A lot of them be pointed in different directions with different focal lengths, depending on the Aurora activity. It was a year ago, Anita and I were at Lesser Slave Lake, and I had 4 cameras shooting, and and they were all different directions. Okay, am I lost the screen here? Lost the share?
You're muted, Jeff.
Can't hear you.
Okay.
Can we hide
Can
the
you take
comments?
the messages out?
Yeah, can we hide the comments?
I'm trying to get rid of the comments here.
Yeah, we really don't need to see them. They can see them in the chat.
Yeah.
It's like it's just giving me a hard time getting rid of it. Yeah, it gives me a button. I says, oh, what does this do? That was stupid. And now I can't get rid of it. Oh, man.
This only happens when it's live.
Of course.
Oh no, what was that? Ooh,
That's an Aurora.
Oh, that's all that we need. A dozen Roys.
I think I'm looking for through a spider eye.
Yeah. Okay, and recommendations. Every camera model has its advantages and disadvantages. Most camera purchases in the last 10 years have been, or most of my camera purchases in the last 10 years have been low light capabilities, and mine is Robert and I both have a D810A. I think that's 10 or 12 years old, the camera, and that is my go-to camera. So you do not need the latest and greatest gear. Yeah. And also bring spare batteries for all of your gear. And when I use my Nikon Z8, I use a USB power bank because it's harder on batteries than the rest, and then it becomes one less thing I got to worry about. I use red lights, and currently all of my red lights are LEDs, so they're pretty close to being monochromatic. But I've got enough experience that I do not need lights to set up my equipment, and that's the way you want to be, because if you got a light on and somebody else is working beside you, you're going to bugger them up. And it's the longer you're outside in the dark, the better that you can see. And if you must use a white light, this is an old military trick. Close one eye and keep it closed until you turn the white light off. And this way you only lose your night vision in one eye, but you got to remember to always use the same eye for this. You know, and you want to keep a copy of all of your equipment manuals on your phone or tablet, because it always happens that you need to know how to make a certain setting but can't find it in the menus without a lot of grief. And my PDF reader on my iPad has search, and that's a godsend, because there's been quite a few times I've had to use it. And it's a good idea to bring along a buddy. And who else you're going to be able to share your tales with. It's also a safety thing. And get permission to be in the area that you're shooting. This shot here was taken in a canola field during a full moon, and you can see the aurora in the background there, and that's the farmstead in the foreground. But this shot was taken at 48 minutes after midnight. And this is with a D8-10A. It's f1.8 at 0.8 seconds, ISO 6400. And it's so that it gives you an idea. You're pushing your cameras, and this camera is designed for low light. It's the A means is for astronomy. It's the astronomy version, and it's it works well.
Now, David, are you always pretty much shooting wide open all the time?
Pretty well, yeah.
Okay.
I'd say I'm wide open more than 90% of the time. You know, so you want glass that looks fairly good wide open. But the way I look at noise, if noise is the first thing that you see in a picture, then noise is not the problem. It's your picture. You know. And for setup, you want to check the aurora forecast. It's if this is one of your first times doing this, I would suggest you arrive early and get set up before dark. And sometimes the aurora only lasts for an hour. I've seen it last for less than that. And other times it goes all night. There's for the average person, there's no rhyme or reason on what this do. You can get an idea from the forecast, but the forecast that you see, that's an average for pretty well the entire Earth, but it may not be accurate for where you are. And you want to check the focus on your cameras, and both the camera and lens should be on manual focus. As part of this, I can go into how to focus your camera, and it's actually fairly easy. You put your camera on live view, and you aim at a star, or if you can't see a star, you aim at a bright light as far away as you can find it, and you adjust the focus on your lens until your object in there is as small as possible. And some cameras, you've got to go very, very slow when you're adjusting the focus, because it takes them longer to show your your light properly. And sometimes it can take up to a second. And this thing, you you want to check your focus every time that you change your camera battery, especially on the mirrorless cameras. And it's Nikon says that it'll reset the focus, but what I've found is that they say it, but it's not close enough, because you're focusing on close to infinity, and there's an awful lot of lenses that'll go past that. So you always got to check it. And I always shoot in manual mode, and you want to check your histogram often. And I figure it should be left to center by a stop or two. Yeah.
So David, you don't want to just say, "Oh, I'll just take my focus and set it to infinity, and I'll be happy. It'll work," because it may not.
Well, it depends on how badly you want to be disappointed when you get home.
Yeah.
You know, if you want to be disappointed, go ahead. And that's my go-to settings for starting is ISO 3200 f1.8 in 4 seconds, and I adjust from there. And it's like an important thing is you get the shot. If you require a slower shutter speed or longer exposure or higher ISO, so be it. A noisy shot is better than no shot. If not, like, noise is the first thing you notice in an image, and composition is the problem, not noise. And I don't mind a little noise. I've grown up with it. You know, it's my first high-speed films that I was using back in high school. It looks like somebody looks like sand, you know, different shades, and that's how coarse things work. And have all your gear organized. You may want to change lenses. You'll probably be changing batteries and camera positions later on. So you don't want to leave anything behind. When I'm shooting my astrophotography, when I take my gear out of my truck, I'll put it into a wagon that I have. And even if I'm only moving 2 meters, I'll use the wagon, because I'll take the stuff out of the wagon, set it up, and when I'm finished, I put it back in the wagon. Nothing goes on the ground. And if you have your gloves, put them in your pocket. You don't want to lose anything, because it can get, if you lose it, you probably won't realize it until it's too late. Okay, in this picture, it was taken in Elk Island National Park in 2016 on the 6th of June, which is pretty close to the summer solstice. And it's at 123, and I used a D750, an f1.8, 3 seconds, ISO 4000 with a 20 millimeter Nikkor. You know, so a D750 is a good camera for this. And see, there's no questions yet, so I'll go to the next one. And shooting. This is where all your preparation pays off. And all of my night photography cameras have a built-in intervalometer. It goes that way for Nikons and Olympus cameras. Some Canons have it, and I do not know about Sony. If you don't have a built-in intervalometer, you get a remote one. And it's because I find it very hard to run multiple setups at different locations if you have to press the shutter yourself. You know, and I think nothing of setting up a camera and have it taking pictures every 20 seconds, and I'll come back and I'll check on it every hour just to make sure everything is okay. Yeah. And it's like I say here, one night I had 4 cameras going, shooting different directions. And it was 600 steps round circuit for me to check them all. And Nita was out with me also, and she had 2 more. So between the 2 of us, we had 6 cameras going. And it's like on other occasions when it's minus 30 outside, I use an intervalometer and monitor the cameras from the warmth of my truck, because there's absolutely no reason why anybody other than a fool would be outside pressing the shutter at minus 30, because when you could be inside where it's nice and warm. And as Alan, it's I've done torture testing with all of my cameras at minus 30, and with my DSLRs, they will whine when they want to be shut down. With my Z mounts, I have no problem at minus 43. I had them out for an hour and a half, taking pictures every 20 seconds. And other than having to change the battery on my Z8, it would have been okay. And if I had used a USB power supply, I wouldn't even have to do that. So I don't worry about the temperature. Is in Calgary, I like to take sunrises in when it's colder than minus 30, because I get the steam coming off the buildings downtown, and it's got to be colder than minus 30 for this to work. And I'll have them out there for an hour or so, and I do not have a problem. But thing is, you want to monitor your cameras, because the DSLRs is with the lubricants that are in it. It's they'll tell you that in plenty of time to turn it off, but so that you want to be checking on them about every 10 minutes when they're out. But for the first half hour, I wouldn't bother. And here is to check your Aurora apps often, and that'll give you an idea with Aurora will start, or how long it'll last, or if you missed it all. And okay, and this picture here, well, like I said, it was with my D750. And this tree, where did my cursor go? Okay, there's my cursor. This tree was in one of the other pictures that I had, and that is a photographer there, and that is a photographer there. And I wouldn't be surprised that this thing right here was a bison. Yeah. And, yeah.
David.
Yeah.
Scuba Rozzi was asking about the batteries, internal, external. I think primarily you want to use an external battery pack if possible, right?
Well, I do not have a problem with my batteries. And the only time that I use an external battery is with my Z8 if I'm shooting a time exposure. It's well, but I'm starting to use an external battery more often with it. But an awful lot of it has to do with how you treat your batteries, because I will not change the battery until it shows red in the viewfinder, and then I'll change it. And sometimes I don't even change it then if I'm not around my camera. But I always carry lots of extra batteries, and every time that you change batteries, you have to refocus your camera. You got to check the focus.
Right.
Yeah.
So it depends on what you're going to do. Like you said, if you're doing, a whole night of constant photography, then you're going to be changing batteries a lot, or an external battery might help. If you're doing just to see what there is, your regular battery, internal battery would be fine.
The power pack helps a lot in this.
Yeah. See, the other thing with me is my display I have it so that it turns off after 3 seconds. So it
Right.
is not on all the time.
Yep.
You know, and so when I'm checking a camera to see if it's working, I will watch and see if the display flashes. And if the display doesn't flash, I know that the camera is not working. But I have all the settings on my cameras to minimize power usage. And I do that on purpose because I don't want to, you know, how many spare batteries do you take?
All of them.
Yeah. But if you've got 4 cameras, should you have 4 spares or 6 spares? Well, yeah. So that it's a big thing with your power management, and like ordinarily when I'm out shooting, I'll run a battery until it shows red in the display, and then I'll charge it. But not until then. And so I'll go out with batteries that are half or 3/4 depleted to start the night, because I want to, when I charge the battery, I want to charge it completely. And I find that and being a miser with the display, it helps a lot.
And with regard to the intervalometers, if people are going to use that, especially if you're using the built-in ones, keep in mind, make sure you understand how it operates. A lot of people get confused with how the Nikon intervalometer, and I think Canon operates the same way. I don't know about Sony. But in the intervalometer, you go and set your settings, and there's an interval setting. And people tend to think that interval is the interval between shots, but it's not. It's the interval from the start of one shot to the start of the next shot. So you don't.
And binary side, and binary numbers.
Right.
1, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, and so on.
Right. So if you just put 1 second, it's going to start a picture every second, even though you wanted to have a 3 or 4 second exposure. It really doesn't restart the pictures. All it does is change the numbers of the number of pictures it takes. If you start a picture, it's going to take the 3 or 4 seconds or whatever you set it at, but it's going to count down once every second, a picture. And so if you said you wanted to take 100 pictures, you're not going to get 100 pictures out of it. That may not be obvious, but
the guide there is your exposure on binary plus 1 second. That's the easiest way. If you have a 20 second shot, make it 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32. The 20 somewhere between. That means you put a setting on a 20 seconds to your exposure plus 3 or 4 seconds interval, and then you are on. You're on the money.
What Terry's referring to is if you set your camera to 30 seconds, the exposure is not actually 30 seconds, it's 32.
No, 32.
And 15 seconds is actually 16 seconds and so forth.
Yeah.
So anyways, for the Aurora stuff, you're probably not going that long. You're like Dave was saying, it's 3, 4 seconds, 2 seconds, whatever it is. But if you're going to use the interval, let's say you choose a 4 second exposure, then the intervalometer, then you want to use an interval of at least 5 seconds.
Well, you want to go a couple seconds more than that.
You only need 1 second between shots. That's all it really needs to reset. You can go 6 seconds to be safe, but all I'm saying is you want to at least go 1 second beyond the.
So what we can do is at the end of the presentation, if any of you have the C9 at hand, you can show in the menu the menu where you set those numbers, so that it becomes clear to the audience here.
Yeah. The only other thing, Robert, is you want to have enough time so that you can actually see the display between shots, and that takes about an extra 3 seconds. And if you don't have that time, then you don't see it, and then you don't know if your camera is working from a distance.
Right. From that perspective, yeah, you would want more time. And the Aurora it's not like you need to have intervals that are one picture out of the other. You can have it every 5 seconds, something like that. Take a picture every 5 seconds.
I find that 20 works, and
What?
okay.
That's not variety.
I don't find it that way, Scubarazzi. I
No.
shoot my time lapses lots of times with the intervalometer because it has a time lapse setting. And there,
Yeah, I did it last week with a friend of mine on the Z8. I had the Z9. He had the Z8. It works exactly the same way.
Yeah, and I've shot time lapses in manual mode.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
Okay. Now that we've almost kicked that to death, it's this shot here is this Wignavani Lake National Park is actually on Lesser Slave Lake in northern Alberta. And I shot this in 2017 in August the 21st at 10 to 3. This was with a D750. And this was with my fisheye. It's an 8 to 15 millimeter zoom. And it's, as you can see, I got the Aurora and the Milky Way. And the Aurora is all the way around the edge of the frame.
Yeah.
And you got to be careful when you use this lens. You want to aim it straight up. And you want the lens to be higher than your head, or else you're going to have your head in the pictures. And up here, this is the first time I noticed it, there's a satellite right there.
Oh, yeah, that's a line.
Yeah. And so, and this was f3.5, f3.5. So just because you have an f4 lens doesn't mean you can't get anything. But because that's what I was using, see how this all looks is soupy or cloudy or whatever, that there's no real shape to the Aurora. You've got it there, but that's what happens when your exposure is longer. And with this, with the way that I focus, you pick a star. In this case, you pick lots of stars, and use your live view, and you change and you magnify your live view to the maximum magnification, and then you adjust your focus manually. It's I do not have a camera that'll autofocus on the Aurora. As much as I wish I did, I don't. But my Z8 and Z9 with my Sigma Art glass will focus in almost darkness.
Have you tried the ZF with that -10 EV autofocus?
No, I'll use my ZF for test shots, but I've got many better cameras than it.
No, I was more of a curiosity if you tried doing autofocus for that. It's not one you want to use for the Aurora, but just curious if that one would autofocus.
Yeah, that'll be something to test. It's I use my ZF as a webcam, and to get it out of there is, out of the office is something. Okay. In this one, I'm back to Elk Island National Park. And this is with a D600. And being that this is 14 millimeters, it was probably my 14 to 24. It's f2.8. But And being that this is 3 seconds, and the aurora, it was moving that night, and you'll never have sharp aurora. Doesn't matter what you do, it'll never be sharp. It'll always be murky to a certain extent. But one thing that I try to do is have the aurora come to the top of the frame. So I will pick a focal length that will do that. Okay.
That looks sharp for me because here in Down Under, we don't have anything but the blaring one.
Yeah.
It's a very long exposure. We need more than 10 seconds exposure.
Yeah. Yeah, it all depends on the night is what you push. If you push your exposure, your shutter speed, or if you push your ISO, or if you push both. You know, it every night is different, and it's a good idea to have a friend with you, and if the friend is a photographer, that's better, because then you can compare notes, and if they're not, well, then you gotta talk about something else.
And we can blame somebody else.
Oh yeah, yeah. And this one here, this is still in Elk Island National Park. This is in August.
Nice.
Before midnight. Yeah, with my D600. And this is also with the 14 to 24. This is the F mount one. But and this one I've got on my wall as a 24 by 36 because to me it looks like a hammerhead shark.
With a long tail.
You can see for my shots, that's the year that I took them in here. And the H, it stands for my D600, and so I've got all of my shots. They all have a unique number. In this one, there was 2 nights in a row that the aurora was like this, and it lasted for an hour and a half each night. And I was shooting to the north, and I was also shooting to the south.
This is one of my favorites of yours.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's not bad.
I've seen better.
Yeah.
Don't give him too much credit, guys. You're gonna
Really?
Head's gonna swell up.
Yeah. And where I was camped out there, this picture was taken about 40 meters away from where my trailer was parked, and it was a fantastic night. And it didn't matter what direction that you looked, you could see the aurora. And if I had my fisheye, I could have filled the frame with aurora. You know, because this is with the 14, which is the widest lens that I had up until a couple of years ago. You know, and this is with my D750. And this one here was, I think it's the same night. And you see how things have changed, how things change. And like, this is at 21 minutes after. Now go ahead. And this is at 13 minutes. So there's 7 minutes between shots.
8 minutes.
8 minutes, yeah. That's a round off hair. Anyway. And so you see how things change fast. So, and that this tree is in both shots. And this one with a 20 millimeter lens, the other one's with a 14. So, and both cameras are set up almost side by side.
And that was with the naked eye, you can see the same. The question.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
question whether the colors were better or worse with the naked eye.
Before or after Photoshop? You can always.
That's clear enough.
I
Yeah.
have to imagine it's always better, what you get on the camera, because the sensitivity is just orders of magnitude better than your naked eye.
But the thing is, it you could see colors, but you can't see the colors like you can with your camera.
Right. You don't get the definition, I think.
Yeah, and when you're using the 810A, it sees more of the spectrum than your eyes can. So that makes a difference too. And this is before I started playing with my color temperature, because now for color temperature, I use 3850. And it's on the bottom of the screen. There's my settings there that Gustavo was really nice to put on the slides for me. And Scuba Rossi in your LSD. Yeah.
Microdoses.
Yeah. And you probably heard a rumor that it's no use being out shooting the aurora with a full moon. This is a full moon. And I was in Yellowknife at the time. And Anita and I were out shooting it this one night. And I think I was shooting southeast for this shot. Well, it'd be more east anyway. But and this was with my D810A, and I was using a 20 millimeter lens for this. So that'd be my 20 millimeter Nikkor. Yeah, and oh, Jeff and Leslie are leaving. That's too bad. Well, yeah, yeah. There are no birds in my pictures tonight.
As far as you know.
Yeah, as far as I know, I'm being careful not to shoot birds.
As long as the shape of the aurora doesn't look like Big Bird, we're good.
I'd rather have Big Bird than that hammerhead shark.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. And this one here was actually shot in Calgary, inside the city, and it's just after midnight.
To Canada.
Yeah,
That's wonderful. Wonderful shot, David. Really nice.
and you could actually see it like this, and this one here is almost straight up. Yeah.
That looks like something you'd see in a science fiction movie,
Yeah.
Yeah, whooped in.
Yeah, and it's 1.3 seconds. So 2000. So it was bright because this lens is an f2.
Is common in Calgary that, David?
No,
Just happened.
no, this happens about once every 5 years.
Hmm.
Yeah, and and you just you've got to be ready, and if you're not, and now you need a permit to be in the park at this time of night. And luckily, I had a permit, but I'm having a hard time getting my permit renewed for next year.
Why is that?
Well, David called me. We were talking on the phone, and they're like totally screwing them on how much they want to charge them.
Oh,
It's crazy.
I used to get it for free, and then it went to $31 a year, and now they want $70 a month. But the problem is, I only use it 3 times a year, so it's cheaper for me to go out and get fined than it is to get a permit.
that's their own stupidity. That's why they don't have any logic.
Well, and I'm sure they issue less than 5 permits a year.
Yeah, they're idiots.
Okay, to go to the next one here. This is Starland County, and this is quite close to where I go camping. And this is with a 20 millimeter lens. I should have had something wider, and this is with my D850. It's my go-to camera is my D810A first, and then it's either my 850 or my Z8 second, and then I've got a Z9, and the 8 to 9 are great cameras. It all depends on what focal length that I want to, because some of my glass is F mount and some of it is Z mount. So so the lens dictates the camera to a certain extent. And on a night like this, I would have maybe 3 or 4 cameras out. At least 2, But this happens fairly often. And see, we've got clouds on the horizon, but because the conditions were right, and the Aurora was pushed quite a ways south, that it was up high, so you could see it. And this is why there's nights you want wide glass. And this is, I think that was before I got my Laowa glass. So, and my Laowa is 10, 12, and 15. Okay, this one is at Lesser Slave Lake, and that kind of looks like a dragon coming down and going to bite something.
Mm-hmm.
But the Aurora that night, it was just dancing. It was moving so fast. Like, I got a 5-second exposure only because this was f2, but it was and 5 seconds was actually long for that night. I think I had a bunch that were, I got it down to around a second. And this one here is looking due west. And it's along the lake, and it's a beautiful place to be out. It's the beach. It was all rocky. The pebbles were about the same size as your foot, so you had to watch how you walked.
Mm-hmm.
And because you're doing all of this walking, with no lights on. Because I had 4 cameras going that night. And it was a great night.
Instead of storm of rain, is a storm of light.
Oh yeah, and it went for most of the night. We were up there for a week, and I think we were shooting 4 or 5 nights in the week. Okay, this one is just outside Calgary. That's Calgary that you see on the horizon here. And I shot this with my D810A at 12 millimeter Laowa. And it's it's 2 seconds ISO 6400, and And I did no noise reduction at all on this. Because I normally don't do noise reduction on an Aurora. You know. But this is, and this is looking east southeast from the park, and I'm about 10 kilometers from the city. And like, just because you got a city there and you got lights, if the Aurora is good, they can counteract that. If the Aurora is not good, it's you don't want to have any lights within 100 kilometers of the direction that you're shooting, because they can overpower the Aurora. And if humidity is high, the light from a town or city, reflecting off the humidity in the sky, will obscure your Aurora. And Scuba Rossi, I don't apply noise reduction because I don't have to. Like I said before, if noise is the first thing that you see, its composition is checked. You know. So, and you have a look at that, and like with the cameras that I have, I'm not worried. No.
Yeah, I mean, you can't really see anything in this. I mean, at least without pixel peeping, you're not going to see it.
And the way that I look at it is all of these little white spots in there. Can you tell me that they're not stars?
They're stars, aren't they?
Oh, they're all stars. And there's
Yeah.
stars between the stars, you know. And like you want to use software to remove the stars.
No.
Anything.
Well, I think it, depending on how carried away you get, if you were to use noise reduction on this, you got the nice, I don't know, shafts of light type of thing, where you have some definition there, and it may just soften it up too much, and then you kind of lose that effect, you know.
Yeah.
I think DxO5 now allows you to locally remove noise, which is good. I haven't tried it. I don't own it yet, but
Yeah.
Can I ask something else, David? With the excuse of this picture, you shooting, you said, on 3850.
Yeah.
Isn't it too cold?
Pardon?
Isn't too cold the 3850 Kelvin you use?
No, it's one of the better low light photographers that I've come across, and
Yeah.
it was a young Chinese lady or Oriental of some description, and she used 30-30. And
Because I tried it here and it was so blue, and I didn't like it.
yeah, from where I am, I find that works good.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
Yeah.
I for like the Astro that I do at Milky Way, I tend to use, around 4,000, 4,200.
And Terry and the photopil guys on the Aurora specifically, they recommend about the same what they use. They recommend 3,800 Kelvin for areas where there is very little light pollution. And
Yeah.
they say if you have a little bit of light pollution, then it can be 3,400 Kelvin. So I think that what David is recommending here is what other people have recommended, and that give you perhaps the greens and the reds, the more accurate representation of the colors.
Probably of my location here, because the auroras are not so strong. I never see anything like that. And most of the times it is through the photograph, not through the naked eye. And
Yeah,
when
and
I tried the last two weeks, before 2 weeks, I tried with putting down the temperature, and the sky and everything was so blue, which wasn't, maybe the approximation of aurora in my case anyway.
Well, some of that could be because of the humidity in your air too, and
Yeah,
your light.
probably could be. Yeah,
It could be a whole bunch of things.
yeah.
But anyway, I'm going to go to this next shot, or the next two. Terry can speak to these.
Well, that's the maximum I ever had here, with almost with a naked eye. Not exactly like that, but with the naked eye. It was the first time we saw that in, at least me, in around here, which we could see the aurora with the naked eye. Most of the times it's only through the camera. And this particularly is the right one. It is a panorama of 3 or 4, 4 or 5 actually, vertical panorama shots. Yeah.
Scuba
And
Ross,
all of them have been shot with auto daylight.
Scuba Rossi's asking if you set your Kelvin temperature, with inside the camera settings themselves, or do you just do it in post?
Yeah, you can do it both ways.
I mean, it really doesn't matter, right? They both do just give you the same result.
Well, yeah, I set mine in camera because
Yeah, much easier.
You like to see it too right away, when you're looking.
I set up shooting menu banks, and I've got it set there, so that when I change to my low light menu bank, all of the camera settings are there, so I don't have to think about it. And that is one of the settings that I have, and being that it's in manual with manual focus, that's also in the menu bank, and my go-to exposure settings are all there, and like I do it all that way, and so that I'm not busy changing 17 dozen settings. I just change menu banks. And I just got to remember to change menu banks back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to back up to a previous question that was asked here. If you use any kind of light pollution filters or anything.
No. And the thing is, when you're shooting after dark, you do not want to use any filters at all, because you get a reflection of the light on your filter, and it'll bounce around, and then you'll be able to see it in the pictures. And so I'll have a lens hood on all my lenses to protect the lens, but I will not use filters.
It's good to use it when you are close, very close to city lights. It helps you a bit. I try it. It helps you a bit, but not so much anyway.
Mm-hmm. Well,
So Terry, do you use these? I mean, obviously here you have the combination of the Milky Way and the Aurora, and it's spectacular. So do you use one of the cameras that you have with a modified sensor, or this is a regular sensor?
No, that's a normal. That's a normal. It's not my infrared. No, that's a normal. I think that was with the Z9. Both of them, yeah.
yeah, the Z9, the one on the left, which is Z9 with your 10 millimeter Laowa, f2.8 20 seconds, ISO 800. Yeah. It was bright that night.
Yeah, that was, yeah.
And the other one was your Z9 with your 14 to 24.
Yeah, that's, I think it was the same day.
Yeah. Yeah. So
no, it's not the same day. Sorry, that's not the same day. That's the second one. It is. No, that's a different. I can't remember the dates. They were different one. You can see that with the Milky Way too, the different position.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Different clouds. Yeah. No, the clouds were coming and going. It's not a big deal. They had plenty of them. But the position of they tell us is the position of the Milky Way, because none of them is composite. It is normal. It is panorama, the one, and straight, the other one. It's not composite.
Okay. So no more questions. We'll go to the next one.
No, I think we're caught up with the questions.
Okay, and these are two more of Terry's.
Yeah, that was only through the camera. We couldn't see that with the naked eye. And the left one is just the beginning, the first shot we had from with the colors, and the second one was a little bit later on. It's not, it's maybe a half an hour difference. But we couldn't see through the naked eye, only through the camera. I was making some test shots, and then come this one. I thought, "Eeka." But then I had a problem with the other ones. I can't make the panorama. I can't match the panorama.
Yeah, I've never tried to do a panorama. I try to pick the lens that fits.
Yeah.
Because the Aurora moves too much to do a panorama.
Here, David, we don't have much of movement. It is what you see is what you get.
You'd be surprised how much it moves.
Oh yeah, no, I understand. I've seen your photographs, and I see some documentaries, and I really see the movement. But we never have anything like that down here. Maybe, as I said before, maybe the proximity of the Aurora, we are far away to give us the details.
Okay. And now we've finished Terry, and we got one of Robert's shots.
It's all right.
Well, this was a year ago in October, and this is in Connecticut, so you're pretty far south, really, compared to what David is, and so this was very rare that we even get Aurora, and it was cloudy when we got there. I think this one's the 810A, because I think the 810A was giving me more of a red. I was shooting with the Z9 and the, so I think this is the 810A.
It's amazing the colors of this time of the night with the clouds, and you have these colors on the sky. It's so beautiful.
Yeah, with the Z9, I was getting these really bright greens, and you can see the stars through there. Yeah. And this was a 28 millimeter f1.4. I forget the exposure. I don't know if you have that handy.
2 seconds ISO 800. So it was bright that night. It was probably bright because of this reflection.
It looks bright. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the city lights from Springfield in the distance.
Yeah.
Springfield, Mass.
Okay. Our next one. And this one here.
That's the same one.
Has a little bit of light painting in it.
Right. This was at the end.
I'm going to show you what Robert can do.
So it's the same, pretty much same view, right? Now, this was at the end of the evening, so we started maybe around 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock. This was at 11 o'clock. The clouds kind of cleared away by then. And we just, I was there with a friend from work, and we decided to do some light painting. So I was triggering my camera remotely and doing light painting from both sides. So it's the same tree from before, which was dark.
Nice job, Mike.
But all the Auroras off to the right, to the left, I mean.
Yeah, in here.
Oh, you light up the trees very nicely.
Thank you.
Yeah, very good.
And we got the same tree again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Again, all same location, looking the same general direction. This is the Z9 with the 14, but you can see that was giving me green colors. And with the 810A being more. Say that again.
Which is the location, Robert? The location?
This is it's an area called Mary Edwards Property, which overlooks Springfield. This is pretty much on the
Springfield,
border.
okay. Yeah.
This is on the border of Connecticut and Massachusetts.
Just to imagine the distance from North
Yeah,
Pole as we are.
we're at about, I think we're about 41 degrees latitude, I think, here. I'd have to double check.
We are 38.
And I'm in the field.
There's a couple people in the field there.
Now we have a couple from Gustavo. Yes.
From his backyard, isn't it?
Oh yeah, and that was the
Gustavo
night.
can get anything from his backyard. I don't know. I think it's like virtual reality or something. I don't know.
Yeah, where's the deer?
Yeah, he could have carcasses laying there one day. Then he got
Oh yeah, the herd
box
there.
with birds in it. The next day.
There's the deer
Yep.
Yeah.
Killed.
in the neighbor's yard. Yeah.
And that's an exceptional rare aurora for Colorado around just south of Denver. So it was a particular day that was extremely bright. But with regard to the colors, it just the colors, of course, is done because of the interaction of the particles from the sun. But the further south that you are, more likely when you have a strong aurora, you're going to see an aurora that is high in altitude. So in the south, we're going to see the red colors, while you are in the north, or further north, you're going to see the red above, but on the side where you see a lot of greens. Now, this night here in Colorado, we were able to see some red above and some green strike. Now, sometimes you get this yellowish color, and you can see some of the strikes. That tends to be a combination of superposition of two different colors.
Yeah. Scuba Rossi.
Do you remember the white balance on this, Gustavo? Just I want to compare.
I actually reprocessed those again with the 3800 that David recommended.
Yeah.
It was in it was short and raw with an auto balance, but then I correct them back to 3800 Kelvin.
Nice. Yeah, that's a really nice indication.
Yeah. Now you can see that the sky on the side is a little bit bluish. I would have loved, I think, I reprocess a little bit to get it more black. But that's it. But that has to do with exposure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Scuba Rossi.
Where if you got the picture like this in the film days, you'd say, "What in the heck did the developer do to my picture?"
Yeah.
Exactly.
That thing went through some x-rays.
Yeah.
Scuba Rossi is wondering if it's back to AI or LSD.
Yeah. And that day,
A mix of the two.
and that day, which I said was exceptional, and we talk a little bit about that later on.
Bucketing down.
You obviously the camera, as Bob indicated, sees a lot more. Obviously, has a longer exposure, so there's a lot more sensitivity. But I could see with my naked eyes some of the colors as well. A lot toned down from this, correct? But you could see with your naked eyes, and you actually could see those the texture, those lines as well, which for us in Denver is exceptional.
Yeah, when I was taking the shots last year, we could hardly see it with the naked eye. It's like, I think there's some greenish, blue, reddish tint there, but you take the picture and it's, oh, okay, there it is.
After you've been doing it for a while, you can actually see the aurora easier, and because I know what colors to look for, and so that I can see it with the naked eye a lot of times before other people can. So.
But David, you're right in your commentary. That day in Denver, we have also, of course, there was a tremendous amount of activity in the aurora, and we will talk about the level of activity, the intensity of the level of activity.
Yeah.
But also, it was a a dry, cloudless or almost cloudless day. So the dryness of the air it was important that day as well.
Oh, that makes a really big difference,
Yeah.
you know. And we've got one more of Gustavo's so shots.
Yeah.
And
And I like this one because it was, there were the green curtains, if you want to call it that way, kind of between the purples and the reddish color.
Are you sure there wasn't any fire around there?
In the sky, there was a fire in the sky.
there's no deer in this picture.
No,
Yeah,
no,
it's cold. It is killed. That's it. They took it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He moved the camera. Okay. Now, our next shot, we're going to get into how to read some of the information that we get from Space Weather Live. This is Gustavo did this screenshot on November the 11th when he shot his shots. And here we had a KP of 8, which is very, very rare. And this one was using the Discover satellite. It's he only had the first third of this screen, so that's what but this is what they forecast the Aurora Oval to look like at that time. And depending on how good what the Aurora is, what these colors are like, when it's red like that, it's good. And that red goes along with this red here. And it was also good in the south. But
That's all exactly as you showed from here, southeast.
where Terry lives, which is right about there on my cursor, it was only green, so he didn't get too good. But and when they're saying where it was good that night, was Edmonton, which is north of me. Gillam, I used to live there. Iqaluit, that's a long ways, and that's in the Northwest Territories. Nor is it anyway. And there's Saskatoon, which is in Saskatchewan. And I'm about as far north as that is. And Whitehorse and Yellowknife, like these places are all in Canada. But also there's in Fairbanks and Reykjavik. And it's and when you have a look at this map, Reykjavik is right about there, and lots of times the Aurora goes over Reykjavik. Yeah. And this one is Space Weather Live. It's and that is all I'm going to have for this screen. We go to this Aurora Watch is from the University of Alberta, and where it and I did this one night when we're having a meeting, a coordination meeting between the four of us, and it was snowing that night too, and that's how come this was red. And when I found out with the camera, as soon as this hits 20% chance of seeing the Aurora, your camera can see it.
20%.
I only need 20%.
Whoa.
Way down here.
And you had 89.
Yeah, and I got 89. But the problem is I wasn't at 30,000 feet to be above the clouds.
What? You didn't have your Red Bull on you with you? Give you wings.
No, my tripod is not quite that high.
Get the Super Gitzo.
Yeah.
Okay. And now I'm going to get the okay, I'll refresh this screen and this okay. This is live this is live right now in the Space Weather Prediction Center, and there is the link right there. So if you take a screenshot of my screen, and and this has to do with the forecast. These times are all GMT. So tomorrow night, the forecast is good because we got 4, 6, and we got 5. But this is only on the KP, but you want to see more than the KP. And I'll go down in the screen here. This is what the sun is looking like. But there are two things that we want to see here. And one is this screen here. And at this time, that is what you have. But if I play this, it's got to load. And once it loads, okay, I'll stop it here. Come on. Okay, and I'll explain this for you. This one here has to do with plasma density, the top circle and the arc in the graph has to do with plasma density. And this is the sun. The sun rotates. And this is like one of those lawn sprinklers that rotates, how the water goes spraying out from it. And then because it turns, it makes these arcs. And this is the Earth. And this is satellites called Stereo A. And this graph or this picture and this graph go together at the time. Sometimes I can grab this and sometimes I can't. I can grab it here. But at this time, on the 22nd, and at 1 o'clock Zulu or GMT, this is what the density is predicted to be. Anything over 2 is good for me. And this here it's the same thing, but it has to do with the plasma velocity. And you want faster, because it's faster, you get better aurora. But the problem is when this density is really good, I got nothing for speed. So that you need both at the same time. And so I'm better off to be something like this. But I usually like to have my velocity above 500, but 400, I can make that work as long as got the density. But go along with that, we have this one. Unfortunately, this one couldn't become any bigger. And we got our BZ here in red. And this dot line is 0. I want my BZ to be negative because the more negative it is, the farther south that the aurora is going to be. And so when it's at 0, chances of me seeing the aurora, no matter what the KP is not very good. And this one here has to do with the speed. The temperature I don't worry about. And there's the density. And that's all that I'm worried about on these. And on this site, that is the information that I want to see. Okay, we come to this one. I'm going to refresh it. So, and this is real data. Oh, we're gone back to Discovers again. Okay. So this KP, they call it -4. and some places will call it 3, which is about the same thing because they break the KD down into thirds. And but is looking at the magnetometers here, and what I want to see on the BZ is, which is the last column here, I'd like to see some red or yellow in there. And this is where all of these different magnetometers are. And these are all in Canada. And the way things are showing up here tonight, it's a night that you stay home because there's nothing there. But here we've got the solar wind. And what happens is this part Discover satellite is, and this is what it's measuring as things are going past Discover. And because of the velocity that the wind is going, it takes 52 minutes for this to come over to here because of this velocity. Discover is out quite a few kilometers. And here we have a density. Our density is really nice. I like anything above 2. You know, and want to see the BZ, and right now it's positive, and then it's negative, and that gives you an idea of like for all intents and purposes, like they say 52 minutes. This is 52 minutes of time in here, and so. And then it looks like we may have something good, maybe 10 minutes in that 52, maybe. And everything else being good the way it is, the chances of seeing something and for that 10 minutes are actually good with the camera because our wind is not too bad, our density is great, and and our BZ, which pushes the Aurora south, is going to be good. But right, when you have a look at the stuff that's been measured, there's nothing there. So, and this one is I usually don't use this site because I don't really consider it as worthwhile. But it gives me an idea what tomorrow night should be like. So tomorrow night should be better than tonight. But I don't put much stock into this site here. And this one is the one that's based in Alberta. And so I got 19% right now. And this is every 3 hours, this is updated. Actually, it's more than often than that. It's every hour. And this is yesterday. And it's the only thing that I look at this site is this area in here. But and that's because this magnetometer is close to here. So it gives me decent information. And if there's no questions on this data, I will go to this slide and we're good for questions. And I will stop. Well, okay.
We'll try to do this after the fact.
Yeah. Oh, we got Big Roy here.
Here we go.
So if
Anyone... down there, up there, Roy.
The air is thin up in the top. I'll tell you right now.
Looks like we can't hear you.
Thank you, David. It was wonderful, your photography of the Aurora.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Excellent.
Well, I had excellent help, from from the three people in the middle row. You know,
Yeah, wonderful
You did do it. You do
wonderful
it.
job with the images and the
You're in
presentation.
Gustavo. We were just consultants. That you and Gustavo did the job.
all I did was fix some typos for you and give you what a crappy picture looks like.
Well, that's a thankless job, but somebody's got to do it. Should have asked me.
Someone's
I
got
wouldn't-
to
I wouldn't have had anything.
demonstrate what the bottom of the
could give
barrel
you a
is.
crappy one.
yeah, it's I didn't steal any of Anita's stuff because she's got some good stuff also. But an awful lot of this is you got to be out there. There's 100% guarantee. If you're not out there, you don't get it for sure. You know, and it's what I'll do a lot is especially when I'm out camping, if conditions look like they're going to be better than so, I'll set up a camera and have it shoot away using the intervalometer, and I'll go check it. And it's nice to see you here, Subarazi. And it's and it's nice to see the Europeans involved. So, but anyway, and I think Scubarazzi actually got a shot or two of the Aurora. So now he's got a better chance not knowing what to do.
Thanks again, guys. I know all of you collectively have been working really hard this year on, providing some focus and sharing information on astrophotography. And I think it's great to have different genres. You get people to say, gee, maybe I'll try that, and that's what we try to do is show a little bit of everything. And it's great that we had you guys together working as a team, on the side, and you put in a lot of time and effort this year to put some content together for the show. And I just want to thank all you guys for doing that. It's very much appreciated, and hopefully people, get the itch to go out and try to get some of this stuff. I mean, obviously, location of where you live has a lot to do with whether you're going to be able to get these kind of images or not. But if you live in the right place, and for Bob to get anything in Connecticut was definitely an oddball thing. But I think we've supposedly had some opportunities in Myrtle Beach actually to get some, which I did not attempt to do. I mean, I'm definitely not a sky shooter very much.
Nice question. Nice question for you, David.
Yes, yes, I did. And I shot it with my Z8. And when I was at Lesser Slave Lake, I was getting, with my video, I was getting the Aurora up to a half an hour before sunrise. And it was just phenomenal there. And like I was using external power because I was shooting for 3 or 4 hours at a time, and taking a picture every 10 seconds, I think it was. But it's but when your exposure is 4 seconds long, and you don't shoot more often than every 10 seconds because you got to give a camera time to process and whatever, because it does take a bit of time, and to get it working right. But I'm not too sure where I've got the videos because I don't have them close. But and the files are really big from the Z8, because I'm shooting in RAW. It's not as if I was shooting a 256 or something like that. So, or 260, whatever the video format is.
Jeff, all we need is a all we need is another Carrington event, and you'll be able to see it down in South Carolina.
Well, if we have another Carrington event, your camera may not work.
Well, the thing is, it'll be dark because this power will be out.
Yeah. I'll just close my eyes. It'll be dark enough.
Yeah, and I did the video in camera. Yeah, and I actually shot time lapse with the camera. And the nice thing about the Nikons and time lapse, if the camera dies, it'll actually close the file, so you can still play it. Yeah, which is a nice feature. That's if you're using the time lapse function. But if you're using the intervalometer function, I don't to use it to put your frames together to make a time lapse. I don't think that works. You know.
The H plus is the hydrogen.
Well, there's hydrogen alpha. I think that's maybe what he means.
It is
which is what the
810,
which is what the 810A. Yeah, the 810A is like a hydrogen alpha modified camera.
I have a filter for that, but I haven't used it.
Yeah.
I never had the chance.
And I wouldn't use a full spectrum Nikon for that, because Nikon, in their great wisdom, has an infrared light inside their camera that shines on the sensor, so they can tell when the shutter is open for your DSLRs. I don't know if that has come forward to the Z mounts or not. It's obviously not on the 8 and 9, but it may be on the rest. Yeah. And
I'm interested in time lapses.
Yeah. Scuba Raza, you've done a lot of time lapses, right? I think he's just volunteering for a presentation.
well,
Exactly.
Be careful what you put in the comments, because we will recruit you and we will badger you to death until you succumb, and then you come on the show and you get to embarrass yourself like the rest of us. It's all part of the deal, you know.
Time lapse will definitely be a good topic.
Because we got a lot of other things here to try to do in an hour. I'm going to pose this question to the folks on the panel. Once this is a question I'm going to ask you once I go over the some of the highlights of the Z9 firmware update, which is version 5.30 now. So a question I will ask after we go over some of the, I just bulleted a handful of the things, not every single thing they did. Some things are pretty minor. So the question is going to be, when all is said and done, is the Z9 firmware update a hit or a miss or something in between? And my opinion was it's a moderate level upgrade, which I think is what most people are thinking out there. On a scale of 1 to 10, maybe a 6, not a 10 in terms of everything they added. So does this hint that the Z9 II might be coming sooner than later? So I'm going to ask what your opinion is of that. And let's just hit on some of the highlights. And Gustavo, if you have some other things written down that you consider, important that I may have missed or what have you, because I didn't write down every single thing because we'd be here all night. But some of the things they've added was they now made it so you have subject detection if you choose to use single point or dynamic area autofocus for your AF mode, and that works for both stills and video. And then they, some of the stuff they added, they had on the Z8, but they didn't have it in the Z9, like being able to go into the C1 and C2 custom area modes and make them wider or taller and change the shape of them to what suits your preference. You can now do that. They added face to the subject detection options in stills and video modes. Now I tested out a little bit the focus limiter function that's in the custom setting menus now. You can assign that to a button, which I did. And unfortunately, it was what I was trying to do for me anyway. When I was using it, I determined the distance of my background, which was the tree line, and I was hoping I was going to get a lot of birds that were, flying across that tree line, and I didn't want the autofocus to jump from the bird to the tree. So I got the distance of the tree line, and then I subtracted about 15 meters off of that, and I set that for my far distance. I left the near distance alone, and I know it worked. I wanted to try it out on smaller birds like terns that are really hard to track, that are very easy to have your focus point jump off the bird to the background. Unfortunately, didn't have any small birds really that day. Everything was kind of medium-sized birds. But when I had an osprey flying around that was going in and out of the tree line, I mean, there were definitely times where it was in that area where I said, I don't want you to jump to that area. And the osprey was blurry. And then, when it got 15 meters away from that tree line, it was sharp and it would pick up on it and track it. So, I mean, I was able to make sure that it kind of did what it advertises that it does, but I did not get the chance to try it out on smaller subjects, which is what I really wanted to do. But I had felt that the Z8 autofocus was a little bit snappier and stickier than the Z9 was, but now I'm glad to say that the Z9 autofocus, when you're in 3D tracking mode, I'll tell you, it grabs on the eye really, really fast. It sticks really, really well. It doesn't bounce around that much at all. I was very, 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 very happy with the autofocus now, even more so than what we already had with the Z9. So it was definitely a big improvement, in my opinion, from testing it out the other day. So doing the focus limiter and adding that to a button, I would highly recommend that if you're doing that type of photography. But another like where Gustavo could use it a lot, or anybody really, is when you really want to compress your focus zone, okay, and go in and get your distance to where the birds are flying out of that hole in the tree, and then get that distance, and then subtract or add a half a meter either side of that, and your autofocus is going to grab really, really quick because it's not going through a long range. And I mean, something like that, or getting a hummingbird that's landing on a flower in your certain flowers in your yard or whatever, the same type of thing, it would be a really, really great function to use, because you can really increase your autofocus by an extreme amount, and I'm looking forward to trying that when hummingbird season comes back, and I don't have it now. They now have in network the master. You can have the master camera now detect and connect the remote cameras on the same network. Improvements to AF operation and reliability, including subject acquisition during still photography. Yeah, that's what it is really, really good. Voice demo recording, now you can do it if you're using external mics, which you couldn't do before, which, may seem like a minor thing, but I think it's a pretty good thing to have. During video recording, you can use iMenu. You can adjust the headphone volume now, which is also a good thing. And this was another thing that I programmed on the camera. I did a lot of reprogramming of my buttons on my camera earlier this week, being able to cycle through focus points using the multi-selector or sub-selector. It doesn't slow down when you're changing directions, but you could go in there now when you have the you can cycle through your subject detection options, which is great. You just keep pushing a button and jump from people, animals, birds, planes, trains, and automobiles, or whatever you want to do. So I did assign a function button to do that. So, now I just have mine set up now where I have all my major functional changes that I want to do between using my record button to cycle through my
All
focus.
right, Chuck, I thought you wanted to stay longer.
No, I'm going, man.
You're going?
My eyes are jarred, man.
Well, good night, Chuck. Get some rest.
Good night, Chuck.
Good night.
Merry
Good
Merry
night.
Christmas,
Here.
Chuck, to you and Maribel. Say hi to Maribel for me and
I
for us.
will. I
And
will.
say hi to the cats for us.
I will do too.
I hope you
Have
guys
Merry
have
Christmas.
a great holiday. And thank you so much for being with us this year. And hey, every time, you are improving, man. You're doing good. You're doing
We're trying.
Hey, you're a tough nut. You're getting there, man.
I might have to be on at Christmas Eve. Oh yeah, Christmas time. Yeah.
We'll look. We'll keep our eye out for you.
All right. We'll talk to everybody till later, boys.
Take
Good night,
care.
Chuck.
So anyway, I mean, for what I did is I got my record button now set to cycle through, single point, 3D, etc. I got my function 1 button to cycle through my subject detect options. I got function 2 where I could change my AF, go to AFS or AFC, and also change my focus modes as well. And I got function 4 to do the on the back of the camera where I can change my metering modes. So I basically have a lot of the stuff I'd want to change, where it's quick and dirty for me to do it now. I mean, I did finally, I had the DXFX button programmed on my camera, and that screwed me more times than I can imagine, where I accidentally bumped the button or something and put it in FX mode and didn't realize I was in FX mode. And that's what I'd like to see. You know how you get the nice big, you're in record mode and you're in record mode. Give us a different color frame or something if you're in DX mode, so you really know, because you're not always looking in the upper right-hand corner and you go, oh, crap,
Yeah.
I'm in DX mode and I don't want to be in DX mode. Make it really poke you in the face, or put a message goes across the screen. You're in DX mode, stupid. You want to be here? That would be really nice. But a lot of other tweaks, like, minor things, that do irritate people. They had typos in some of the menus, where they spelled, misspelled words and things like that, which can be a real pain for some people. But what I mentioned, I thought was really some of the primary things that they changed. And, they also did add some black and white modes as well. So there's tons of little things that they did in addition to, and I was very pleased with it. Like I said, I really, oh my God, I really am going to like the focus limiting for what I do, and help stop, having that skipping to the background when I don't want it to be skipping to the background. So, I mean, there's stuff, obviously some stuff that I wish they had done, but then again, some of the things I wish they had done may be not possible due to, the age of the camera and the hardware that's in the camera too. I mean, I'm not the engineer at Nikon, so there might be some things that in my mind, I'm like, oh, I should be able to do that. And maybe you really can't, I mean, I can, excuse my language, I could bitch about it, but that doesn't mean I'm right. You know what I'm saying? I mean, but I think at this point though, we're just going to see bug fixes and stuff from here on out with the Z9, because I think, we're pretty close to the Z9 too. I really do think we are. I mean, I think some of the other stuff, pre-capture raw, things like that,
That's not coming.
are going to show up on the Z9 too. But, hopefully there's enough. It's not just a evolutionary changes on the Z9 too, for people who want to, because the price point is going to be pretty high, I think, especially in some areas of the country. You got to do a revolutionary change to that camera, not an evolutionary change to that camera, to get people to actually cough up that money when that camera comes out.
They shoot themselves on the foot with that. The Z9 is so good.
Yeah.
It is.
I mean,
Now I would do the Z2.
I mean, you guys think that this firmware update was a hit or a miss or somewhere in the middle?
It was a hit for me.
It was good for me too. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
So Bob, as you know, do a lot of micro photography, correct? Macro photography on parts and stuff like that. Did you try the focus limiter already, Bob? Or not?
I haven't had a chance to upload it to the camera yet. Downloaded the firmware, but I haven't uploaded it to the camera yet. I haven't been shooting. But I mean, for wildlife, I think that's from what I wanted. That was number one, right? Obviously,
Yes.
pre-capture raw. That's not coming to the Z9. So
Yeah, we're not coming across, you know.
Yeah.
But you know, it doesn't have all the things that all the other cameras have. But I don't care about pixel shift, the vision of the thing or whatever. Don't care about that. It's got stuff that the other cameras don't now, like the being able to cycle through your subject detection choices.
That's a big one.
And also being able to, I don't know if you mentioned it, Jeff, but similar to how you can limit your autofocus selection, you can limit your subject detection. So if you only want to cycle between birds and people, and and you can just cycle faster. You don't have to go through trains, you know, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I like that too, because you got that with several of the metering modes too and stuff like that. You could just say, I only want what you want to see on your screen, what you want to adjust. You could customize it the way you want it and say, I don't want the 10 things that are listed. I only want 3.
Right.
I only care about 3, and it just speeds things up for you. It really is just I mean, I confuse myself sometimes because you say, well, I have all these abilities to program things on different buttons and whatnot, and then I can you could use the same button to do a different thing if you're in playback mode. You could use the same button to do a different thing if you're shooting video versus doing stills. And after a while, unless you're doing some of these things all the time, you do forget what you programmed somehow.
Oh, yeah.
And what button it's on sometimes, but I think now when this came out, I spent the time to sit there and think, what do I really want on these buttons? And people say, well, they like a Z8 better than a Z9, and that's fine. Everybody has their own thing. I do like having that extra button on the front of the Z9, though, because now I have the power at my fingertips.
Right. It's nice having that third function button.
And that
anybody have tried the recollect shooting mode, the hold?
No.
I think I read somewhere they have more things to choose from now. I haven't tried.
Recall function. I don't.
Yeah.
I use it. I use it. But I have programmed both on the C8 and C9. It works very well. So you
Now they said the 5.3 they have more choices. On
yes.
put it
So I went like
I haven't seen what choices are there.
Yeah, like Jeff and Bob were telling. The thing is, when we get one of these nice updates, it makes you reconfigure all your buttons, because as the autofocus becomes better, then you need to use the function button less for, selecting the right type of focusing. Correct? You are able to cycle. So I think what they trigger to me, and I think to be the case for both of you guys, is that you sit with your camera and do it. And actually, every time I have done that, I sit with the 2 cameras, the C8 and C9, and try to make them as similar as they can. Obviously, the number of buttons are different, correct? But you try to make them as similar so you know where to press. Yeah. So I typically, and I agree with you, Jeff, the DXFX button, which sometimes I like to use, I actually put it away from the other buttons. So I put it on the, where the lock key is for
the function 4.
For the viewing. Exactly. So
you put it on function 4, and that's what I'm using for changing my metering, because I did use, and my friend Bob, for the first time, he watched the Steve Perry video, and for the first time, we were talking, and he used the highlight metering function because we had a lot of white birds that day.
Yes.
And I'll tell you, and I used it a little bit that day as well. And of course,
You recommend
you know,
it.
you do that, it saves the highlights. There's no doubt about it, very, very well. But you know, depending on your lighting that you have at the time, I mean, your water could look black. Your water could look black. Your bird's not blown out, but the water can look black. So you do have to, you know, you could do the same thing if you really wanted to crank in the negatives on your exposure compensation, but then you're like moving the button a lot, going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And if you're shooting a lot of white birds, just do the highlight metering, and then just bring up your shadows a little bit when you go in post, you know. But you know that you can see the detail in the feathers on the bird, and it's, you know, it's there. It's not clipped. You didn't clip it.
And the other thing that you were mentioning about whether we will have another version for the C9 before the C9 II comes in, I think there is some element of, I would call it harmonization from all the speed 7 that need to happen before they move to speed 8, correct? So I think that's what I personally would like to have, that, you know, at one point they bring in harmony more the C9 and the C8, which pretty much use the same sensor and the same so common electronics, correct? Although the design is different. So if they harmonize those, that would be great. And as well as, you know, as much as they can. And before then, they say, okay, only bug fixes from this point up, and all the new firmware and capabilities come in the speed 8, correct? That's logically what it should happen, like it happened with any kind of software, but I don't know what you guys think.
Maybe a little bit better algorithm on the autofocus. They're still not the number one.
No, but that's for the C9, the C9 II.
Yeah, for the Z9.
Yes, but I talk about the current version of, which are the current generation, which are all like speed 7. There had to be some degree of harmonization, which also brings me to the point that Bob has made. I think he made it also on the Matt Erwin, which is had to do with the, and I don't know if you missed the Jeff, since you could have read some of the comment. If some of the delays that we will have in some of the firmware, which eventually we got it, had to do with the image authentication, correct? Because remember, they tried on the C60 and they had to withdraw it.
Yeah, the guy
didn't work out.
There found a bug.
Exactly. So there is some element. So we are not seeing that yet on the C8, on the C9, not even in this 5.3 on the C9. And the other one had to do with the image cloud, correct? The C8 and C. Not that personally I need it. I see most of us don't use the cloud solutions, correct? And you can see above, you notice that they the recipes, correct? You are able to bring recipes onto the C9, right, but not through the image cloud solution. They say, I copied it in your card and then bring it from NX.
Yeah, so you still have a workable.
So that exactly, but they don't did it. They didn't do it through the cloud. So they tell us something that either the camera is not.
I'm using recipes from their own site years now, from 850.
Exactly. But remember, for this, they wanted they even wanted they wanted the updates, correct? The firmware update to be done through the cloud.
Now you can adjust them better.
And that's every time we talk about the CF or the C60, they say, you can get that from the cloud, not for the C9 or the C8. So there is the cameras are not identical as well.
No, they're not. I think you know, they could even have, you know, for all we know, they could actually have a slightly tweaked a sensor, different rev letter, or even with a processor or something, and they're not going to tell you. You know, I mean, you really don't know. I mean, that these cameras, we think that they should be pretty much identical, and everything should be able to flow from. You know, I understand much to the dismay of many of us that they were looking to put stuff in the cameras that were like the newer releases that were selling in quantity, that, you know, they wanted to keep the the sales, really pounding good on those cameras that came out that were newer. The Z9 kind of got, you probably weren't selling a lot more than you've already sold. Not that you weren't selling any more, but you weren't selling anywhere near what you did, obviously, when it came out. So they focused their effort a lot on trying to bring in some new features that weren't on the Z9 and putting it in the lower end cameras, which then, of course, irritated many because, you're like, this is your flagship. Why isn't it in the flagship? And I think it was all about them, basically just trying to optimize their revenue stream from making the newer cameras, whetting the appetite of the sales figures for on those newer cameras, and because they made their money on the Z9. But doesn't mean I necessarily agree with that, but I understand from a business standpoint why they did it. But it's nice that they did this. I don't know whether we're going to get another
the business side view,
big one or not before the Z9 II comes out.
From the business side view, again, you can't disappoint your customer. You can't do something
one
in
thing
the market,
true, though, when we bought the
your
camera,
customer.
the one thing that's true, though, when we bought these cameras, we didn't have an expectation that there'd be anything different from what we bought.
But they spoiled us.
So we made out well because we got
our fault. It's not our fault. They spoiled us. They give us all these updates.
Oh,
And
yeah,
at the end-
I'm just
And
saying.
at the end, it said, you have another camera, for example, the same, but it's not the same. Well, disappoint me for a moment. And I was hoping at December I'll have the thing, and I had it, and I'm very, very happy. All right, clear as that. But for me, Nikon can't disappoint their customers. They don't have so many customers as other brands, and they cannot afford to disappoint a part of their customers, because if they lose a small part from them, I think it will cost them more than any other brand.
Well, I mean, in a perfect world, you're correct, but I mean, I don't know what their staffing levels are. We don't know how many people they have available to do the firmware.
Look, they have more than 150 people on.
Well, yeah, but how many do you have a group working on Z8 and you got a different group working Z9, or do you have one group that's working on all of them? All of them.
One more reason, if you are a smaller company, one more reason not to overshoot, not to over promise and under deliver. You have to under promise and over deliver. That's what they did on the Z9. Nobody expected to have this camera to be what it is today.
Oh, absolutely not.
And we were very, very happy with the camera at this point. And even a year after, nobody would have said a boo about it. It is a really huge beast for a camera, and will continue to be. But it wasn't our fault. On this time we live, with the consumption and the promises and blah, 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 blah from the companies, unfortunately, they making me or see person to see, one moment, did you say that? Why did you say that? Why did you promise and you don't deliver? That they create their own problem. That's what I wanted to say. They have a camera, they make it better and better and better and better. It is at least 5 times better than what we bought. And I was 6th. And I was 7th.
And it didn't cost us nothing.
That's how they make it.
And it didn't cost us nothing, which is the best part.
Exactly. Which I would have been very happy to pay for some of these updates, because they give us a new camera.
Yeah.
Now I'm wondering what they will bring up for a 9.2 to make me think to buy the 9.2.
Well, we kind of talked about that on Matt Irwin's live stream a little bit, in terms of, changing the architecture to support the CFE B40 speed and the card and things like that. I don't want
to think how much it will cost.
Oh, it's going to cost more because of other reasons. which I'm not going to get political.
Well,
But,
Carrie won't have to worry.
Can
About
be
that.
for you, will not be for me. Maybe.
yeah,
Maybe
yeah,
because the companies take advantage of the ones that look how much we sell there, we sell that here too. We can't do it elsewhere any other way. That's the bullshit they throw around, right? Because they will find the chance to charge more us than what the Americans.
Oh yeah,
Because
you
they
got
have
what you guys pay. I mean, I don't know what you guys make for a living versus in a job in Australia versus a job
Not
in the
like
States.
not like Americans, I
But
believe.
but you know, yeah, I mean, your prices are
Still,
crazy.
your dollar have a chance, have a value, man. Here the
Yeah.
dollar doesn't have that much value. Well,
And
coming on that, sorry, David.
okay, but I've found talking to a friend of mine that's in the camera business is what some of the manufacturers have done is they raise the Canadian prices to match the American prices.
That's what I said.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I said.
Yeah, and there's absolutely no reason. I think what it is they're making all their profit in Canada so that they can sell cameras.
They justify the less price in the States.
Yeah. But
David, they figure you live where it's so cold that you can't feel the pain.
Well,
Business is business. They're not stupid.
some of
They're
it.
not stupid. It's not the first time.
but anyway,
We will say, look, we don't sell our camera, this camera, which is only for United States. You can't buy it elsewhere. They were doing it in some companies, some models.
yeah, but
Or
see
you
the
change
problem.
the names, or you couldn't service them. All this distraction. But
See-
nowadays,
See, the problem with Canada and the U.S. is easy to go back and forth.
yeah.
But in the meantime, to change the subject, I found some of my Aurora time lapses that I might be able to share.
Yes.
Why don't we go another 10 or 15 here and kind of just move forward, and then we'll catch you. Give us like 10, 15 minutes here.
Okay.
I want to jump to something interesting. I know. I mean, when Tim and I were on Matt's live stream, I made a comment. You know, you got that $800 gap between the highest end APS-C camera and the lowest end full frame camera, and that there's wiggle room in there potentially for another APS-C camera that's better. And I don't watch this person's channel as much as I used to, but Ordinary Filmmaker had a video recently, very recently, stating his trusted source expects a 33 megapixel DX APS-C D500 replacement from Nikon in the first quarter of next year to compete with, because Canon is supposed to come out with an upgraded R7 II, which will be their flagship, their new updated flagship APS-C camera about the same time. So all I can say is I'm going to keep my eyes open, and I will see if that happens or not. But you never know. But going through a few of the rumors here, Nikon rumors, and Gustavo, I'm sure you have a lot of this stuff. New releases: 7 Artisans manual focus 6mm f2. 220 degree APS-C fisheye lens for a Z mount for $179. The Viltrox 35 1.2 lab lens for Z mount $999. Matt Irwin did a video on that just the other day. And what was interesting and kind of neat was they had a definition on Nikon Rumors of the different levels of Viltrox lenses. I really think Viltrox is one of the better Chinese lens manufacturers, but he had a definition of what they make. You know, they got the Viltrox Lab series, which is high spec lens, has a little screen on it, control ring, voice motor built into it. Then they go down a notch to the Viltrox Pro, still a high spec lens with an aperture ring and the voice coil motor. Then they got the Viltrox Evo, stepless aperture ring and a stepping motor, and the Viltrox Air, lightweight, no additional controls with a stepping motor. So they have 4 tiers of lenses that they now manufacture for various mounts. And I think that's pretty interesting because, you know, it provides people with a lot of different price points for the same focal length lenses, all depending on what your budget is. And I think that's good to have that for people. You know, they had choice is good. Choice is good. Topaz Labs has some savings that they extended or came out with from the 16th of this month right through January 7th. You can go to Nikon Rumors and see all the savings available from them. And then Nikon did release a firmware version 1.10 on the Z5 II, which was just a specification for uninterrupted video output to HDMI devices and external monitors when recording is over. And that was really the only thing that did. I'm going to fly through these so David, we can end on David's videos and we'll end on Gustavo showing what's coming up, obviously. Sony Rumors. This was kind of weird, you know, a strange and unexpected. It was strange and unexpected to hear that Chris and Jordan voted the Sony FX2 the worst camera of the year when they did the Bad and the Ugly or whatever. But the person that does Sony Rumors actually agreed with that statement. He said it is the worst camera of the year. So it's kind of interesting and refreshing in a way that someone who obviously promotes the brand and it does a lot of editorials on the brand isn't protecting Sony in this case and just saying, oh, it's the greatest camera in the world. I mean, he's actually agreeing with a very negative commentary. Well, that makes you feel like this person or persons that run that, you know, don't try to fluff up everything. You know, if something's not good, they tell you it's not good. So that's kind of refreshing in a way. The A7 V pre-orders started shipping from Amazon on 12/17 at B&H and Amazon for $28.98 for the body only. There was an interview that's on Sony Alpha Rumors where Pro AV had a very interesting live chat with a Sony manager, and he spoke a lot of details about the Sony A7 V that even the editors at Sony Alpha didn't know about. Some of them at the anti-aliasing filter. They made it clear that there is one in the camera, but they didn't talk about it in their advertising. It has 6G Wi-Fi, double the speed of 5G, and in theory makes the connection with smartphones faster and more stable. They're saying that this is their first entry-level A7 series camera that's well-suited for wildlife photographers. The processor is 8 times more powerful than the one in the A7 IV. Sony is claiming that they're now listening to their customers in terms of feedback on the A7 V, and they will incorporate upcoming firmware updates. Well, hopefully they don't brick their cameras like they've been good at doing. They have noise. They have built-in audio noise cancellation in the camera. It's not open gate for video, and they're saying it's a hybrid camera. Shoots 30 frames per second with no blackout, 14-bit RAW and mechanical and electronic. And they say it's about finding the balance, and it's not a feature of this sensor. So it's not going to have open gate. Does not and will not. It has dual base ISO. And they asked about dual base ISO, and Sony had no official statement about it, but we'll get into what the competitors are saying they have in their camera, which is that they have dual gain output, which I mentioned earlier. No internal RAW recording. The manager couldn't answer why they don't have internal RAW recording, but that Sony is very good in spotting trends. Well, other companies have internal RAW, as we know a few of them. So you got to look for the trend that's already out there. And they didn't know, they wouldn't answer if there's going to be a future Sony A7S4. You know, and that's pretty much it. But if you want to see the actual interview, go to Sony Alpha Rumors. Now, jump to Fuji quick, about 6 minutes. I may finish this up after David shows us some stuff here. I'll quit here in 5-6 minutes. Fuji's going to increase their Instax film production by 10% in 2026. They said they got basically a gold mine with the Instax cameras and film production. They're making their money on film, of course, and they're doing good, and they're increasing production. They came out with a new update for the XT30 Mark III. You want details of that, go to Fuji Rumors. I'm going to skip down to a few things here. Now here's where they talked about comparisons between cameras with dual conversion gain, which I talked a little bit about earlier, versus dual gain output in the new Sony A7 IV. They said the A7 V and the Panasonic S1 II read each pixel in the lower ISO range twice at the same time, once with the low conversion gain and once with the high conversion gain, and they combine both signals. Pros and cons. And this is where, you know, just because somebody comes out with something different doesn't always mean it's better or significantly better. It can sometimes mean it's just different, or it's better within a certain operating. If you use your camera a certain way and that's how you use it, you might say, oh, I want it. If you use it a different way, you might say, I don't need it. But on the A7 V, from ISO 100 to 320, you get about one stop of dynamic range improvement over the A7 IV. And from ISO 400 and up, there's no advantage over the A7 IV. Now, that's if you're using mechanical shutter. This dual gain output does not work at all when you're using electronic shutter. And they're saying there's even some disadvantages. Now, when they're in electronic shutter, it goes back to using the dual conversion gain that I talked about before. It doesn't combine it. It's just either, you know, you're using the low range or the high range. So when you're using the electronic shutter, the high conversion gain on the A7 V doesn't kick in until ISO 1000 versus ISO 400 on the A7 IV. So if you're between ISO 400 and 800 on the previous camera, that camera has one stop more dynamic range than the A7 V. When it uses the electronic.
Wow.
So, you know, at greater than ISO 1000, the A7 V catches up. But here's but I'm just saying, here's something that makes you think, where do I shoot at? Do I really want that dual gain output, or do I want the old technology? You know, I mean, it's all these new things. You got to dig and dig and dig and dig and figure out whether it works for you. But sometimes they all just start changing and you don't have a say in it at all. It's there, and that's all you can get after a while. So we'll have to wait and see. According to, they summarized DGO advantages: excellent dynamic range at low ISO, no DR benefit above 400, 500, no benefit with electronic shutter, blah, blah, blah. So it has limitations. And the interesting thing on Canon Rumors, and I'm going to skip a bunch of stuff, is they say the competition's changed with the advent of the Sony A7 V, which features a new sensor design that we've previously seen with Canon cinema cameras, which they call DGO. And so that it's, you know, dual gain output on Canon cinema cameras. And they're saying there's limits. And sometimes the pixels overflow because there's too much light reaching the pixel and clipping with the highlights. Nothing you can do about it. And they're saying Sony couldn't do dual gain output with the electronic shutter at this time because it takes much longer to read the sensor twice and finalize the result. And they mentioned, this is Canon themselves saying their cameras seem to have hit a dynamic range wall, but they're still competitive. And I may go back and call out a few other things here, but David, I'm going to let you share what you have.
Yeah, I hope this works, and but we'll see. Okay, and I've got this. Yeah, you're seeing. Okay. On the bottom left, you see two flashing lights there. That's where I got cameras going.
Yeah.
And I slowed this down because this one here, it goes right until sunrise. I think this one does, or maybe it's the next
Comes
one.
again from the right.
Yeah. Okay, but I've got another one here. I'll try it. It'll take a little while to load up.
Okay, well, while we're waiting for that to show up, let's see if there's anything else. The Canon R7 II that we're talking about first quarter next year. They're surmising. They don't know. 40 megapixel stack sensor ? They say it's going to do 8K 60. They don't know if it's going to be BSI or stack or both, but they feel that since it's going to be their flagship, they need to move in that direction if they think it's going to be something that's going to sell and be solid for the next 4 or 5 years. There are 3 new EOS cameras are going through the certification process right now, and one of them is the R7 II. The others are a mystery at the moment, so they're saying things are fuzzy regarding that. Hope for more clarity in 2026. And then they're saying there's a rumor Viltrox will be the next manufacturer granted the ability to make lenses for the RF mount, but they're saying it's not going to be for the full frame RF mount. They said they're still being very, they don't want to relax their grip on full frame lenses. Canon just does not want to embrace third-party lenses on their EOS, their RF mount on their full frame cameras. So that's not a real surprise to anybody. They've been that way since day one. Much to the dismay of some Canon shooters, I might add. And let's see if there's anything else.
David, are you ready?
Yep.
You all set? Go ahead.
Okay, I'm waiting until it shows up on your
All
screen.
right. Here we go.
Okay. This one goes right until sunrise.
Wow.
Now, is this in manual focus?
That's a good question.
We'll find somebody to answer.
Yeah.
So what was the time lapse between photos?
I'm not too sure what I shot this at. Is probably every 10 seconds, and I put it together at 30 frames a second, but I'm showing at quarter speed.
Very nice.
But this right here is where I had a camera.
Yes.
On this one, and the other one
How
was,
big is this?
yeah. But this was it was shot with my Z8 with my favorite lens on it. I think I had the 24-120 on it, but it's been a while, so I'm not really sure. But
How big is this file, David?
223 megabytes.
Yeah.
Wow.
Smaller than I was expecting, actually.
For 12 seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it, but this was the resolution was very high in this. It wasn't the full resolution from the Z8, but it was most of the way there.
You don't need more.
Yeah.
That was really good.
But you can see that I was looking north for this because there's the big
Yeah.
dipper.
Oh, the deeper, yeah.
Yeah.
So how many hours was that compressed from?
Maybe 2 or 3. Yeah, I didn't. I was doing a whole bunch of experimenting with this. And I didn't keep very good notes. And I just wanted to get something that worked.
Hmm.
And I know I can get something that works, so I just gotta practice some more.
Yeah, I've never tried time lapse, mainly because what would I do with it? It's not like I was going to post it anywhere, but
Well, that's the problem I have. It's the first time I've actually shown it. Is I've got them on my iPads because I got lots of room in my iPads, and then I can show them easy. But that's the only place I have them. Because they're just too big, and with the compression and whatever.
And what's the resolution? 1920?
No. See,
You go to 4K?
it's just give me a second at this thing here.
We got Real Nikon Lover leaving us for those that want to say goodbye.
Bye.
But here it is. Yeah, this is 3840 by 2160.
Oh, shit. Okay. Oh,
So
that's why it's 220 megabytes.
Need that resolution.
Yeah.
So and that's all. It's an MOV file. So it's
And
a
you
pretty.
can produce MOV straight away, isn't it?
Yeah. But this is one of these things that I want to do some more experimenting with. So, yeah.
Do it, and then you teach me.
Hey, that the one with the sun coming up here. This one I like a lot. I mean,
Yeah.
Look good.
We wait for the Scubaracci.
Yeah, the two of us are probably get together on Zoom, and I wouldn't be a bit surprised you want to get on there too, Terry, so you can be up in the middle of the night. Well, you're up in the middle of the night anyway.
Well,
The
if it's up to 2 o'clock in the morning, I'm all right.
I'm going to share with you a camera. My wife gave me a camera early for Christmas.
She did.
You know, and
she fed the beast.
and it's a very unique camera. Autofocus kind of sucks on it, but it's really, really cool. So let me make myself bigger here a little bit, just so I can.
To show off, huh?
Well, yeah, I think you guys will really, really like it. It's a really cool, really cool Christmas camera. You know, it really captures the image.
It makes 3D, eh?
Very well. You know, captures the image well. It's got all sorts of levers and stuff that don't work, like a lot of old cameras that I may have. So it kind of fits right in with the theme of what I got, and it's solidly built. It's heavy. If I drop it on my foot, I'll feel it. So I mean, I think it was a pretty good deal. You know that she.
Yeah, but the stabilization is very nice and a 3D, man. What else you want?
So
for
someone who said, you know, she says, not one more camera, not one more. And I says, you bought me one. You bought me one.
I was surprised. I was surprised she was feeding the you know
the addiction
collection.
Yeah, I was too. You know, I mean, I was pleasantly surprised. So I said, okay, that works for me.
An enabler.
Yeah. Roy, I want you to share your situation here with your new toy.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to go to Gustavo and let him talk about what's coming down the road and add any stuff that he may have that I talked over him or didn't let him give him the opportunity. And he's in the Motel 6 right now. I want to give him the opportunity. But let's show everybody what you got and what's going on.
Monster Adapter LA FZ1. What's this? Hang on, it's doing it differently now. Why is it not doing it? Oh, it's gone just white.
So now it's working.
Oh no, it's gone doing it again. Where is it?
Yeah, I can't see it.
That's black now. Whoop.
Goes nuts.
You're close to. Is it overexposed or?
No, it starts flickering the image when it's trying to autofocus.
Oh.
There you go. It starts
That's how it
flickering
goes.
the image.
Sometimes it'll do it for several minutes.
It just sits there and flickers the image, and you can't do anything with it. And then all of a sudden, it behaves, and you can use it. But it's kind of right now. It's
Maybe it's 40.
somewhat useless, right? Right? Wouldn't you say?
There seems to be a bug with them. All of them seem to have the same bug. They tell me that 2 is going to fix it.
Firmware update coming.
So hold off on buying that, folks out there. I know everybody was excited to put screw drive lenses on their Z-mount cameras with that adapter, but hold your horses. Wait till they fix their problem. I mean, when Roy showed it to me before, it was going nuts. It was just like,
there it goes.
There you go. Look.
Oh, nice.
There you go.
Imagine using that for a few minutes.
I think it's sending you subliminal messages that says, buy more of me, buy more Nikon, buy more Nikon.
You can do it for a few minutes.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Some lenses, it's not as bad. Some lenses, it's like this. All of them do the flashy bit.
With all the lenses, does that?
All the AFD lenses I've got, which is 40-something of them, it does this.
Is it cycling through the motor? Is that what that sound is? Or what's it doing?
I don't know what it's doing. I can hear the motor going. I don't know if it's focusing or not.
Or is it taking images? Is that the sound that I'm hearing?
It's not taking images, it's just doing this.
Is its own motor or your lens motor?
Its own motor.
Yeah, it has its own motor.
Right, but there's noise that's coming out, so I was wondering
not to destroy the lens.
Yeah. Still going.
Yeah. That's ridiculous.
That's fun.
So it's useless. It's basically a useless toy right now. It's a nice paperweight for those of you who are thinking of buying it right now. So I would wait.
It works well when it's turned off. You appreciate the peace and quiet more.
So yeah, I wanted everybody to see that because a lot of people had that on their list to buy, and nothing worse than getting something and then it's a flop at the moment. And when they say they're going to fix it, okay, when? A month from now? 6 months?
Yeah, they say
now?
there's going to be a bug fix for it, so I should hang on to it. But I ordered that a couple of months ago, probably 3 months ago.
Doesn't sound like they did much field testing.
Well, if you get a firmware update for it and it works, then show us how it's supposed to work when you get it.
I'm sending it back tomorrow.
Oh, tomorrow?
Yeah.
Okay.
Send it back tomorrow.
You're lucky.
We'll have to do a special show. Gustavo, I'm going to let you run with us here. Let me make you big, man.
We can't hear you.
No.
No sound.
Move him over.
Try again.
Maybe his phone ran out of battery.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah. I didn't silence you on purpose.
No. It was the one that have been starting is me. So let me see if I can share, because that's where I see. If not, then we talk about. So Windows. Yeah, you see, because I'm working off a different computer, it doesn't want to share. So I cannot share. So that's interesting. So this is my laptop, not my computer. So let's do it. I read it here quickly. I mean, we roughly know what's coming. So on the upcoming side, so obviously we have the image review on on January 3rd, so that would be the first of next year. So that would be, and our general meeting, and there's a reminder, and we probably will put a reminder here, will be on January 14th. That's what we have, that special presentation called Monster, of which we know very little, from Sanjeev in Malaysia. But that will be broadcasted at a different time. It will be, I think it's, Jeff, we said will be 12 p.m. or 10 p.m.
12 p.m. noon time, Eastern Standard Time.
Eastern Standard Time. So it will be good for our friends in Europe to be able to connect to that one. That will be on a Wednesday. So that week, we will have the meeting on the Wednesday, in the middle of the day. So in January and February, we will have our image review on February the 7th. And then the general meeting and special presentation will be by Joy on, he gave me a title already, so, but it will be all about videography and the products that he put together. So the March meeting is still open. I think, as you heard today, Bob is thinking about using that. Luis also suggested a couple of presentations from his recent outing. So we got quite a bit of stuff in the pipelines, but today people were talking about these other things related not only with Aurora, but time lapses in general, correct? So we do have a good pipeline, so we probably already know what the engagements are going to be for basically Q1 of 2026. So I like it that way, so that we have plenty of time for the presenters to prepare. So that's basically what we have. Unfortunately, I cannot share some of the thumbnails that we have for the show, but it is what it is today.
Doesn't matter.
Well, I hope you have a good time in Moab and get some good shots, and especially if you get 60 degrees, after lunchtime or whatever, where it's a pretty darn comfortable. That's what we've had here for a couple days now. We had a cold spell that was pretty cold, and then
Yes.
I'm surprised everybody isn't like laying in bed sick, because we had a day that was wind chill 9 degrees Fahrenheit, and then and then 2 days later it was 60 degrees in the afternoon, and today I think it was probably in the low 60s by it's cooler in the morning, but by 11 o'clock a.m. it's comfortable, and it's going to be that way tomorrow as well. So I'll take it, but sometimes you just wish okay, just go cold, do your cold bit, get over it, then gradually get warm, because this cold warm is when everybody just starts.
Hey! That's a Melbourne attitude, not yours. Hey, that's our stuff, man. If you don't like the weather, wait 5 minutes, it'll change.
Yeah, that's what I always said when I lived where Bob is in Connecticut, New England weather. You don't like the weather, blink your eyes, it'll be different. But,
so that's what we have in the. So please do let Jeff and I know any particular topic. As I said, it's good to have the topics and let the presenter prepare in time. There is a lot of talent among all our regulars here, so I'm sure that we can make these Saturday night engagements very pleasant. And we would like to bring some of those engagements on Wednesday for the people in Europe as well. Right?
Yeah.
So let's see how that goes, and then we take it from there.
And once again, wishing everybody a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, Happy Hanukkah, whatever you celebrate. Enjoy the holiday season with family and friends. If unless you're like me and I don't have any. But no, and I just want get tired of me hearing it, but I like saying it, is a special thank you to everybody that joins me on the panel, helps out with the show, contributes to the show, does presentations for the show, puts up with me during the show.
That's the best.
And that's a big one there, putting up with me. You know, the clown. You know, you're putting up with the clown.
Yeah.
You know, it's just
You had done that before.
yeah, it's just fantastic. You know what we got going here, and very proud of everybody, and appreciative of everybody in the chat that takes their time out. I mean, you know, every single show, you know, people show up, they show up, they show up. I mean, the loyalty is fantastic. The participation, the Q&A, the questions, the sidebar discussions, everything that goes on in the chat. It's all good stuff. Because we all enjoy photography, and we don't get hung up on trying to just rip people apart and rip gear apart and things like that. We worry about the end result. You know, whatever you use to get the end result that works for you is fine. You know, just go out there, as I say, enjoy life, capture some of it, have some fun, and so. Great holiday season for everybody. Can't thank you enough. We'll let everybody say their goodbyes. We're pretty much on time in terms of the show, which is unusual for us, but I'll take it. Get a little extra sleep. But you know, thanks, guys. Thanks a lot for a great 2025. Let's hope we keep things going for 2026. And as Gustavo said, for those of you that are in the chat, you can come on and do a little discussion, you know, 10 minutes long, you know, 5 minutes long, 15 minutes long. You know, it doesn't have to be super long. You bought a new little gadget. It saves you a lot of time in what you do with your photography. You want to share it with us, come on and talk about a product. I don't care what brand it is. Talk about your Sony. Talk about your Canon. It doesn't matter. You know, share information with people, because we want this to be a channel that everybody wants to come to. And you know, just pretend, you know, Roy isn't wearing that particular shirt tonight. But
What shirt?
What shirt? Oh, that's painted on his body. I forgot. That's really Roy's chest.
Yes, tattooed.
He went out and had you know, got taken care of, if you know what I mean. But and Gustavo, I told you, you know, you could take a day off once in a while. You know, I mean, it could go live from the hotel room when you're traveling is above and beyond the Call of Duty.
No, I just have to taste the limit of what is possible. The next time we do it from the field.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do it from arches.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's right. Sit there and go and point to it like, look at the beauty. Look at the beauty of the shot.
Yes.
But anyway, everybody have a good Christmas. Have a happy New Year. We'll see you
Merry
next
Christmas,
year.
everyone.
See you next year, and you know, check the channel in general for other videos I put out on the channel, especially if you're into vintage cameras. The last one I put out, I think most of you would find very interesting. It was quite the find, and I got my friend Bob. You know, he's working on me to go buy those plates and try it out and get some chemicals and get my hands dirty. You know, get the gloves on. Oh God, I haven't done that in a long time.
Looks like Roy had a quick change.
There you go. Wait a minute. Hey, Roy, if we turn around in our chairs and come back, you're going to have a Canon shirt on?
No, I don't have one of them.
One of them. I knew there were limits to his shirt selection. I knew that was one of them.
I want to see the Hasselblad.
Yeah, well, he's got a, you know.
I don't think I got one of them. Hang on, have I? I haven't. I don't know if I got one.
Hasselblad? Well, you should.
We'll have to chip in and get you a shirt for every brand, you know.
I'm working on it myself.
There you go. But have a good night, everybody in the chat, and
Merry Christmas
next year. Take care.
I'll see you in a year.
Yeah.
Have a good night.
Night.
Bye.
We are ending the stream.